You are live and unmuted.
This is Community Board 2 Manhattan, the October Landmarks meeting. There is only one meeting of the Landmarks Committee this month. And in order to have one, we have a rather full agenda tonight. So I ask everyone's cooperation in brevity. In particular, I've noticed a lot of the applications have a great many examples about various kinds of construction and alterations to prove their points. And just use, please, one or two of those in each instance, and that will help move us along. If anyone is here from the public for 18 Christopher Street, that's been laid over, and it will appear on an agenda at a later month when they reschedule. We've rearranged the order a bit. We're going to hear from 280 West 11th Street first, and then the order will be as it was originally posted on the website. First application, people can be up
on the website.
There are at least two people I know who are to speak.
Probably me right now.
I see.
Okay, let's see who we got.
Eugene, do you have the list?
I'm
I
gonna
actually
make,
don't have the list.
Number 6 on the.
first I'm gonna make Eugene co-host, okay?
Please.
Yep, okay, so there's that. And then I see did I see a raised hand, or did you already take care of it?
I did not take care of it, so
I'm promoting Cass Stackelberg from Higgins Quaysbarth, and he will tell us who else to promote, I guess.
Terrific, thank you. And if you can bring in Jordan Rogo from DXA Architects.
Got him, okay, anybody else?
I think that is everybody. We may have one other team member.
if they could raise their hand, it'll be easier to spot them in the list. We could promote them.
I think, sorry, give me one just a second.
Tell her which one you're here for.
Okay,
I'm
good.
for the 280.
Okay.
The West 11th Street 280. I'm here for that.
You know what, I think for now, Mark, it's just Jordan and myself for right now.
Very good. So Chenault and Eugene, take it away. And Susan.
Is Jordan on? Are we ready?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here.
Jordan,
I'm
Jordan's
here.
on.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
West 11th Street, the application to alter the front entrance and studio penthouse window, construct new stair and elevator bulkheads, chimney extensions at the roof, and an extension at the rear.
I'll be next door if you need me.
We would hope to get this done as well as the resolution in half an hour, if everyone can
Okay.
stop
Sure.
that. So we'll be
We will.
schedule.
We shall talk quickly. So let me go ahead and jump in. I'm going to go ahead and share our presentation so everybody can see this. Thank you all for accommodating the shift in schedule as well for us.
Thank you.
I'm Cass Stackelberg.
That is so far ahead, and it's easier.
Very good. Cass Stackelberg, Higgins Quaysbarth and Partners, and I'm joined with by Jordan Rogo, principal at DXA Architecture. The two of us will be making this presentation, and I'll just jump right in. I don't think I need to repeat the scope of work that's before you, but just to focus in now on the building and its history, and Jordan will take you through the proposed design. 280 West 11th Street is located on the south side of 11th, between between West 4th and Bleecker Street in the Greenwich Village Historic District, highlighted here on this Sanborn map. And you can see it here on this photograph. here on our title slide. A few additional photos. The building itself, the bones of the building date to 1818, and the designation report notes that it was built along with 282. This is 282, and the property that we're presenting tonight is 280. These two buildings were built at the same time in 1818, but by the second or third decade of the 19th century, they went, let's say, their separate ways. There have been significant changes at 280, including the addition of a top floor, reconstructing this fourth floor and adding a fifth floor. That all happened in, we think, the 1840s. That also included pushing the back of the house out with a full height extension. And then in the 1920s, a studio addition, and then significant changes at the base of the building. And so one of the goals of this project has been to sort of acknowledge these periods of development and change of this building, to not sort of whitewash them and eliminate them, but to acknowledge them, maintain the connections between 280 and 282, which you see on these levels with this sort of a line fenestration, particularly at this floor, but to acknowledge those changes, to refine some of the architectural work that was done in the 1920s that was not executed particularly well, but to also, as I said, to maintain those distinctions. So the base of 280 here, as part of the 1920s alterations, and you can see, you can sort of compare almost the pre-work condition, because 282 is very much intact from its early 19th century federal style. And so you can compare these two. In the 1920s, the stoop was removed, the door was lowered, windows were shifted, and you have this arrangement at the base of 280 that's a little bit awkward and not executed particularly well. Details now at the base of 280, and what you can see here is these lowered windows, and I'll zoom in on this so you can sort of see this more clearly. You've got the Flemish bond piers of the original 1818 facade, but then they shifted the windows up and down, so you have these sort of infill panels of just common bond brick installed in the 1920s, as well as this sort of odd window that was inserted. And part of this is because they reframed the base of the building. And so the alignments at the base of the building and the floor heights are quite awkward. And in fact, the designation report notes that the base was redesigned in 1929 for C. Rosenthal and Anita Wilcox, and that by raising the floor joists of the first floor, an entrance floor at street level was achieved while reducing the height of the floors above. And one of the issues that we're looking to address in this overall project is these sort of awkward floor heights, 7 and 8 foot floor heights in the overall section of the building. So these are the conditions at the base of the building. There's an areaway that was inserted in the infilled in the 1920s as well. And let me just go back. Clearly an areaway was there historically. There's physical evidence in the cellar of an areaway similar to what's at 282 at the within or below this garden area. A few more details across the front facade. The entry, again, this was lowered. It was a raised stoop, and the entry was lowered. We think that this fan light, which you can see in detail here, probably is the 1818 fan light, and we intend to, while we're modifying and slightly enlarging this door, we intend to retain the fan light and reinstall it into the opening. This photo at the center shows this dashed line, which indicates the break from where the Flemish bond stops and the common bond begins, and that's when the building was extended in, we think, in about the 1840s. I'll also just zoom into this because there's sort of an unusual condition here at the fourth floor, where you can see there are basically 3/6 windows. Hopefully you can make that out, whereas there's 6/6 above and below, and this is basically where the building was stretched in the 1840s. And so you have these sort of unusual quirks on this front facade. We absolutely intend to retain that, but we're looking to make some modifications to some of the openings at the base to provide a little bit more head height on the interior and to detail some of the brickwork in a way that's a bit more well executed, let's say, than what's existing. The areaway in front of 282, in front of 280, just a simple brick curb, simple wrought iron railing, no sort of detailing in this railing, and then you can see the areaway to the west at 282. Side elevations of the building, now that it's considerably taller than the adjacent buildings, are finished in stucco. This is the west elevation on the 11th Street side, and also the west elevation from the garden side. And in the 1920s, when this top floor was added, much like what we're proposing here, the chimneys were extended. These are changes that you all see, as part of a lot of applications. Historically, the same was done, and we're looking to do something similar as part of the work that we're presenting tonight. And then a couple photos up on the roof. This is a photo on the back. So this elevation here is the back of that studio addition. This is a solarium that was added, we think, sometime in the 1970s, perhaps. And then the upper roof here with these chimneys that were extended in the 1920s, mechanicals, simple chain link fence around the upper roof. I'll also just point out that this roof slopes very steeply to the back. So one of the areas that we're proposing is to level out this roof so that one can be on the roof a bit more comfortably. Same elevation, basically, just at a flat roof with a new railing around it, and you'll see that in just a minute. Looking at the back of the building, so as I mentioned, the back of the house was extended, we think, in the 1840s. And what's been interesting is that there are, again, layers of infill and change at the back of the house. So the elevation that one sees today, we think, mostly dates to the 1920s, but you can see historically from the 1840s, there's a typical sort of 3-bay wide punched arrangement here. And I'm going to zoom in here. Typically sort of here at this level, you can see that infilled window here. These windows more or less in the bays where those were. On the upper floors, again, you can see how these windows were sort of infilled. The back of the building, in terms of its composition, is a bit awkward. There's sort of single windows and paired windows and triple windows, misalignments in lintels and sills, and then punched openings and infilled panels where there were previous window openings from the earlier alterations. Details of that here on the right side of this slide. This graphic is really intended just to illustrate that the range of change that this one building has seen. So what's highlighted in this pink color is the original federal style 1818 period, the green, which is basically this full height extension, and then the full top floor addition. That was in place by 1854, and we know that from historic maps. And then this studio addition from the 1920s, with alterations across the rear elevation and as well across the front elevation. So this building, unlike its, let's say, its sister building at 282, this building has seen quite a bit of change, which has affected a lot of the sort of integrity, let's say, of the building itself. We've also prepared this section, again, just to illustrate the sort of different stitched together components. So there are floor levels in red, which again date to the original 1818 period. Green from the first half of the 19th century, that extension off the back of the house and the extension on the roof, and then the 1920s edition. And Jordan will speak about this in greater detail, both in terms of existing floor to ceiling heights, but also just the sort of structural integrity of the building. Because of this sort of cobbled together nature, these sort of periods and additions over time, the structure of the building sort of reflects this varied added onto nature. These historic maps, really, this is intended to really sort of show the evolution of the site. Here, this is the earliest map from the 1850s, and you can see while the street numbering changed, this is 280 here and 282 here. 280 is represented in pink, which represents masonry. 282 is represented in yellow, which represents a frame structure. And so by 1854, the building was considered a brick masonry building, but it's also, you can see, no longer aligns with the back of its sister building at 282. So that's how we know the building was extended and enlarged by at least 1854. The 1904 map shows a similar configuration and block plan. Many of these sort of one-story shed structures in the rear yards behind these buildings, and then by 1950, those shed structures gone, and an open rear yard, which is relevant for the next chapter of this history of the building. Some historic photographs showing the building. The earliest photos we could find were from the 1920s or published in 1930. When the building sort of was altered. And what's interesting about these photos is that historically the front facade was painted. And I think the sort of the quality of the brickwork wasn't much of a consideration because the whole front facade had been painted. And so the building now has been stripped. We have no intention on painting it. But I think that explains why some of the quality of the work perhaps wasn't done as well as it might have been done if the brick had been determined to be left exposed. So you can see the front facade here with the studio. This photo, obviously the text photo, clearly shows these alignments and misalignments between 282 and 280. You can also see those 3/6 windows at the fourth floor of 280, which you can see when they added this top floor, they extended the fourth floor just enough to get taller windows, but not tall enough to get 6/6 windows. So you have these sort of quirks on this front facade, which again, we intend to maintain, clean up a bit, but maintain, because we think that history is really significant. This sort of, row house reborn history, assuming you guys know that reference to Andrew Dolkart's book. And then the designation photo from 1967, illustrating the building, sort of clearly showing that chain link fence and the extended chimneys. These are a few pages from Andrew Dolkart's book, which just illustrates this really fascinating time in New York history, really the first, let's say, quarter of the 20th century, where row houses were going from some multifamily to sort of from single family to multifamily. They were being redesigned. This happened extensively throughout the village. Front facades were altered, stoops were removed. Many of these were done in a very sort of high style and high quality design. I think this building over on Washington Place, 77 Washington, which had looked a lot like 75 and then was redone with shutters and this arched entry. And then Waverly Place, 124 Waverly, where the masonry facade was stuccoed over, tile roof, these large scale windows, studio windows at the roof. These we think are sort of higher quality versions of what was done on the front facade of 280. But we sort of show this to illustrate kind of what was happening in the city at this time. Of course, throughout the village, there are numerous examples of these conversions, of these straightforward row houses with penthouse or studio roof additions added, large scale studio windows, not always north facing, but sometimes north facing, shutters and large scale windows installed sort of at that parlor level. Another sort of interesting piece of the history of 280 is that in 1929, the owners of 280, as well as 10 other houses on this end of the block, came together and formed what was referred to as Bleecker Gardens Association. This was spearheaded largely by Mark Van Doren, father of Charles Van Doren, which may be a name that you all know, as well as Anita Parkhurst Wilcox, who lived at 280 West 11th Street. And the goal of this agreement was to basically create a common shared space in the back of these buildings with no garden walls, no divisions between spaces, but to have a common open space. And there's an agreement that governs the use at the back of these buildings. They need to remain open. There are a lot of use regulations about what can be, how the building is going to be used. And no structures sort of built within that shared common space. So this is an aerial view, and you can sort of see how lush that end of the block is, and then a plan. And the numbered houses are the ones that are part of the Bleecker Gardens community. Interestingly, in the 1920s, this was a trend, let's say, that was happening in really throughout the city. So in addition to Bleecker Gardens, which was 1929, there were 6 or 7 other sort of garden communities that came about. Turtle Bay Gardens in 1920, McDougal Sullivan, which I'm sure you all are familiar with because it's part of the CB2 area. That was in 1921. Joneswood, aka Jerry Gardens, Sutton Place was also sort of this creation of sort of a unified street facade with open shared space in the rears. And Bleecker Gardens was part of this sort of overall trend, and it persists today on this part of the block. A photograph. This is looking south with your back to 282. Obviously, unlike what you see in the rear yards, you see many applications for property projects in the West Village where you see garden walls aligned with lot lines. There are no garden walls back here, just open planting. There's a shallow pool area. This is basically the back here of the lot of 280, but this is all part of the common area. And this is shared space for the residents who back up onto the space. And then photos of the back currently of 280 and 282. And this photograph I think is significant because I think one of the issues that we've been discussing internally as a team, and certainly comes forward in all these kinds of applications about modifications to rear elevations, is about relationships of buildings within a row. And so historically, 280 and 282 looked the same at the back. They both had wood siding similar to what 282 had, but the relationship between the two houses really sort of was broken in let's say the 1840s, certainly by 1854, when the full height extension was built at 280, and then further when the studio addition was added in the 1920s. So the changes that we're looking to make here off the back of the house, this isn't about sort of establishing or maintaining a relationship to its neighbor. That relationship has been severed, more than 100 years ago, almost 200 years ago at this point. But really the question is, as you'll see in Jordan's presentation, part of the presentation is about appropriateness, the appropriateness of the modifications that we're proposing at the back of this house. A block plan just illustrating, there are numerous 1, 2, 3, and even 4-story extensions off of the back of this house, off the back of houses on this block. And you can see the Bleecker Gardens group here shown, highlighted in green. And then finally, I'll just leave this photograph. This is a view looking a bit to the east. So you have 280 here, 278, 276, 274 here. The adjacent house to the east, this back elevation was reconstructed with a very tall, it's 1 or maybe 2-story extension off the back of the house. And you can see the sort of regular punched openings that exist in typical sort of backs of row houses on the rest of the block to the east of the project site. So with that, I'll have Jordan take you through the design proposal.
One question, please.
Of course.
From you, is this being changed from multiple dwelling now to single family?
Correct.
Okay. We always note that it's not, it doesn't enter into our deliberate.
Understood.
But it's important to note.
Understood.
Great. Well, good evening. I'd like to echo Cass's expression of gratitude for accommodating us to present earlier in the evening. Thank you very much. I'm Jordan Rogoff from DXA Studio. We are the architects of the project and working in collaboration with Cass. I think Cass alluded to some of the kind of primary driving forces behind our approach to the design. I think preserving this kind of rich layered history, the fact that the building has really evolved through 4 separate building campaigns, and these kind of whimsical moments that are the result of these alterations that have happened through time. I think we aim to really celebrate those with our approach to the design. And then at the same time, trying to balance some major programmatic and structural challenges that are the result of some of the latter alterations that happened, probably most notably the 1929 alteration. As Cass mentioned, in 1929, essentially an entire additional floor was inserted at what was the parlor level, and the basement was dropped in creating a ground floor entry to essentially make this into a multifamily structure. The net result of that, there's 2. One is we have multiple floors with less than 7.5 feet of floor to ceiling clearance. So kind of unworkable when you are trying to modernize the structure with like MEP and life safety considerations and even DOB compliance. So our first move was really to just remove one of the floors and kind of rebalance, bring everything into compliance, and at the same time address some of the structural concerns that we had in the fact that there are multiple different construction technologies for different pieces of the building. So we want to kind of standardize that, make that more robust, and again, in compliance with contemporary code considerations. So the first move probably the most important move happens on the public right of way with the front facade here, or the street facade rather. We are proposing to remove the kind of extra row of windows that emerged in 1929 and replace what are currently two double hung windows at what used to be the parlor level, and replace that with actual kind of parlor sized fenestration. And we want to bring that into alignment and kind of bring back the Flemish bond framework of that original federal era elevation. So we really kind of thought about trying to capture that Bohemian era moment with the door being dropped down from the removal of the stoop, along with the fan light, and what we affectionately refer to as the Malkovich window, that kind of small window that's above there. We really wanted to maintain that relationship. And what we're proposing there is really to kind of scoot that door in the Malkovich window over about 10 inches so that we can bring some structural reinforcement in. Right now, it's right up against the party wall and presents some both programmatic and structural challenges. But it also synthesizes with our efforts to try to rebalance some of the proportions. There's some wonky moments where all of these building campaigns add up to kind of disproportionate or misaligned features on both of the primary facades. So we want to scoot the door that 10 inches. We also want to restore the door to what we believe was more in line with the original width when we look at the adjacent building at 282. What we refer to as the sister building. By increasing the width, right now it's less than 3 feet in width, and these fluted pilasters were applied. They show up in some of the historical images, but not others. So we want to increase the width of the door to align with the fan light, and then increase the height of it as well. At some point over the history, and I think it's after 1929, this very small 32-inch wide door by 6'8" door was put in there, and we know that most of those doors were larger and frankly more proportional to the rest of the composition of the facade. So that's really kind of the base of the building. Then looking upwards, the studio that was built in 1929 has kind of an anomalous sort of single pane glass and steel skylight. We'd like to bring that more in alignment with the typology seen throughout the district, which is a little bit more generous, vertically oriented, fenestrated skylight, while retaining and restoring the slate roof above that. In some of the later slides, I'll get into kind of the bulkheads that we're proposing here. We do want to introduce an elevator. We have the elevator serving the studio floor and not going to the roof to minimize that bulkhead, which is set back and minimally visible, and then a stair bulkhead as well. And then a small kind of covered area at the entry to that essentially a trellis that covers the entry into the proposed stair bulkhead. And then also notably, another effort to bring the building into compliance is that all of the active flue, the chimneys are not in compliance with an occupiable roof. So we're proposing extending those up, both our building and the neighbors at 278 and 282, an additional 3 feet in most cases, to bring that into compliance for exhaust requirements. Next slide, Cass. This is just a rendered version, which kind of helps kind of visually explain some of these moves. I think also importantly that the multifamily work done sometime between 1929 and this era, there were a number of kind of exhaust vents placed or cut into the facade. We want to remove those. We obviously can exhaust directly up to the roof and restore the masonry in those locations. And then this, I think, with the rendered elevations, you can read the kind of rethinking of the proportions and location of that door and its relationship to the Malkovich window. Next slide, please. Cass made mention of this, that originally the building had an areaway. Right now it exists as kind of a vault space under the planter in the front yard. We'd like to resuscitate that, bring back accessibility to the basement level, as shown on the number 2 sectional elevation. So there's clear precedent for that. We believe it was there before. There's evidence, obviously underground, and then with the sister building at 282. Next slide, please. These are just some details, articulation and composition of the proposed door enlargement. And then the next slide gets into the fan light restoration. Many of the windows in this building remain as single pane to meet energy code. We are proposing to rebuild those windows pretty much across the board as thermally insulated or IGU units. So it's a double pane glass. And so this is some of the detailing behind that effort. And then on the left is the typical window, the 6/6 double hung, and on the right is the proposed kind of enlarged parlor level effort when we subtract that lower row of windows that was added in 1920, or that were added in 1929. Next slide. Cass spoke briefly about the Garden Association, the Bleecker Garden Association. So part of the agreement in that association that exists between 12 contiguous buildings here is that there's a kind of surrender that happens for the rear yard of each individual lot. So while legally this lot extends all the way back on that black dotted line on the left, that becomes kind of a public right-of-way for the Garden Association, with a boundary existing. There's essentially an easement built into that agreement between association members of 10 feet of private area directly off the back of the building. And so what we're proposing for our enlargement is that we bring one floor, just the ground floor, back that full distance of the defined private area, and then the remaining 3 stories above that, floors 2 through 4, back an additional about 3.5 feet. So we have it's 10.5 foot projection to the private line, and then we set back 7 feet for a projection of about 3.5 feet for the additional 3 stories above that. And here's a detail showing that relationship. So we're going to be engaging that bottom floor, which would be the kitchen and living space for the family. And then they can walk directly out to the shared space, their rear yard that's a part of this association. And it features a beautiful little fountain directly behind their place. Next slide. So turning our attention to the rear elevation, as I mentioned, we're proposing projecting back that lower floor, as you see on the right, and then the 3 floors above that back an additional 3.5 feet. And that's really in response to the existing elevation that you see on the left. As Cass mentioned, a series of kind of misalignments from these 4 different building campaigns has resulted in that facade. And he also noted the kind of quality of the composition there. So we feel that our projection, we can kind of bring the rear elevation more in alignment with the fabric of the other 11 buildings that are part of the Garden Association by bringing them back into alignment with this proposed fenestration, with a small nod to the 4 double hung windows that happened in the 1929 campaign, but again, kind of bringing that into alignment and bringing a more rigid approach to their alignment. And finally, at the top of the building, in a late 1970s, early 1980s campaign, can't quite pinpoint exactly when it happened, a greenhouse was added onto the back of that studio level. We're proposing removing that. And currently that volume of the studio exists as just kind of a very roughly parched surface. We want to actually bring in a standing seam, a zinc cladding, and add two French doors for access out to the terrace that's up there, and bring the character of that fenestration more in line with what's happening on the lower portion of the building than that 1980s solarium or greenhouse. Next slide, please. These are simply, or this is just a rendered version. Looks a little blurry, but you get the idea. The brick that we're proposing is essentially to match the existing brick that's there. Again, a nod to the history of the building and that initial build out that happened in the 1840s. And then there you see a representation of the zinc cladding. That zinc cladding then extends also up to the stair bulkhead and the elevator bulkhead as well. I want to point that out. Next slide. So taking a look briefly at the west elevation, as I mentioned, kind of the big move here is really to extend those the chimneys of both our building 280 and the neighboring building to the west 282 up into compliance. That dashed line shows kind of a 3-foot extension on the northern half, and then a closer to, I think, an 8 or 9 feet extension towards the back to get up to the minimally required exhaust height for occupiable roof space. Also worth noting that there is an existing lot line window. We intend to relocate that up 1 story to align with the kind of internal programming, and also add 2 additional windows, all in compliance with fire code considerations for penetrations in lot line walls. The larger of the 2 is in alignment with what will be the stair core of the building. And that is not visible from any vantage point except for one, which Cass will take you through visibility studies for the proposed design shortly. You'll see it is visible from the northwest corner of the intersection of Bleecker and West 11th Street. Next slide, please. This is showing kind of a restoration or improvement to the existing parging on the west elevation. And there's a clear delineation that exists. Kind of the chimneys remain expressed independently of that lot line wall. We wish to retain that kind of historical or vestigial piece of the building. And then you see the bulkhead coming up from that stair arrangement, which comes up on the roof and slopes away from the street to make it in alignment with the principles of minimally visible from the public right of way. Next slide. Turning to the east, this is pretty straightforward. There are no lot line windows being proposed. We're simply kind of straightening out the roof of the studio. Currently, it's almost kind of a hunchback where from street level it goes up and then it comes back down. We're taking the kind of breaking point on the front of the studio, the street-facing side, and just going directly across, essentially establishing a median line, lowering the ceiling in a portion of it, but increasing it in the rear portion to not make that any more visible. We have the chimney extensions, and then notably on the east elevation will be an elevator bulkhead along that lot line wall. Again, we are serving the studio level as the last floor served to minimize the elevator bulkhead. Next slide. This is just a rendered version is showing the parging and then the material qualities of the 2 proposed bulkheads. Also to point out is that right now, all of the railing that exists around the roof is just chain link fence. We have a much nicer solution, very much like the Highline railing, which is a kind of a woven mesh rail. We'll show you a sample of that in a couple of slides. Next slide, please. So this is the root of the problem, or design problem, I should say, of these very challenging floor to floors and resultant ceiling heights of under 8 feet on 3 of the floors. And the next slide, if you go to that, our proposal is really to remove what was built in 1929 on that lower level, and provide more generous ceiling heights that will allow us to bring in all of the sprinklers, mechanical systems, lighting, and kind of unlock this building for its conversion to a single-family residential. Next slide. And this is just a comparison showing the 2 sections side by side. It's worth noting that we are not increasing the floor area of this building. It's actually a small reduction, but it's in an effort to kind of modernize the overall building, and that's even inclusive of the areas that we're proposing to project to be in alignment with the neighboring building at 278. Next slide. These are helpful axons just to show you the alterations being proposed for the roof. You see that small trellis structure that kind of protects the entry to the bulkhead from weather. That is set back as to not be visible from the street. And then the presence of those 2 bulkheads, one serving the elevator, the other the stair. Next slide. And then on the rear of the building, the removal of the solarium, and then kind of reconstruction of what is kind of a ship's ladder, turning that into a less treacherous access up to the roof. And then the addition of those French doors on the back of the studio floor. As well as the projection into the rear yard to the kind of private delineation or private area of the rear yard before the association area begins. Next slide. And then these, we can kind of fly through these. These are just a little sampling of the materials. That first column on the left of materials, those are existing materials with the slate and the current masonry, as Cass mentioned, in Flemish bond on the facade. And then the kind of additive elements, which are the bulkheads in zinc, the railing system, which I mentioned, is stainless steel. And then a kind of reconstitution of the arch around the fan light in brownstone, the door color, and then the window color, which we intend to match as it currently is, as white double hung windows. Next slide. This is the same for the rear elevation. Again, they're trying to match the brick of the rear elevation, the same zinc that's applied to the bulkheads on the rear of the studio level, and kind of the same components that are on the front facade. Next slide.
Oops, sorry.
Yep, and then same materials on the bulkhead, same components. So I think with that, Cass, we can turn it back over to you for the visibility studies.
Yeah, so we have these simple sightline diagrams, but let me go ahead and jump to our visibility study. So we built a mock-up. I think, as some of you may know, the trees along West 11th Street in particular, and at the corner at Bleecker and 11th are very healthy, and they're extensively leafed out. So what we've done is we've just taken photographs of the mock-up of the different elements that are mocked up on the roof. They're difficult to see because of the density of the leaves and the health of the trees, but we include this just to illustrate, all the elements: the extended chimneys, the shade structure, the elevator, the stair bulkhead, and the elevator bulkhead, as well as the railing, more or less in location of the existing railing. So these are a series of photographs illustrating. On the left is a current photograph that illustrates the mock-up, and then what we've done here is in the middle is basically a model view where we peeled away the trees so you can sort of understand what the visibility is. But honestly, other than maybe this view, you won't be seeing as much as you're seeing here. So this middle view is the existing, and the view on the right, same arrangement for all these slides, would be the proposed. So this photograph shows, basically the railing, which will be a lot lighter in appearance than what's there today, sort of matching visibility of what's there. The extended chimneys, you can see that here, and then just a side elevation of the stair bulkhead here over the lot line wall. This is now from the east side. Very difficult to see. You're seeing a bit of the railing, but really obscured by the trees on the block. Now moving to the west of the site, is your photographs along basically on the northwest corner of Bleecker and 11th Street. Everything other than the chimney extensions really are obscured on the street by these trees. But basically what you'll see is the railing as you see today, and the chimneys. Really no more than that. A little bit further to the north, up Bleecker Street. Again, this tree it really blocks out the building in its entirety, but we show it here. Again, you're catching the railing, the chimneys, and the stair bulkhead. Typical features, that one sees. Typical features that one sees really throughout the district. And as Jordan said, this sort of falls, within the sort of visible / minimally visible characterization. And then a bit further to the west, this is now from Hudson Street again. You can see the chimney here and a little bit of the railing. So the rooftop features are there. There is visibility. It's pretty modest. And again, you're not seeing, it's not a rooftop addition. You're seeing the typical rooftop features, railings, bulkheads, and extended chimneys, much in the same way as the existing condition has extended chimneys. And then finally, we end here with a rendered view of the street facade on 11th Street and the rear elevation at the back. As we've said, the idea here is to maintain the connections between the historical lateral connections between 280 and 282, maintain that layer of history from the 1920s at the base of the building and at the roof of the building, and then at the rear, sort of recompose the rear elevation in compatible materials, brownstone lintels and sills, and brick, simple wrought iron railings that are detailed to sort of pick up cues from the historic railings and ironwork on the front facade, and then high quality materials across the roof with the zinc standing seam cladding across that top floor, and the very simple stainless steel railing. So with that, we're happy to take any questions.
Okay, we have 10 minutes, so I think we won't try to do the resolution now, but are there questions from the committee?
Yeah, I have a question, which is regarding the cast iron fencing on the front facade. In this front elevation of the proposed, in the proposed front facade here, there's a decorative cast iron railing. Is there a detail of that anywhere?
Yeah, let me run it. So let me run to the existing photos. This is it's a very simple, I think it's actually steel. It's definitely not cast iron, but it's just a very simple, iron railing at the areaway. And then I think we have details here. So
you're replicating what's already there.
Well, what I would say is we're kind of improving on the detailing. What we're doing, so what's there today is just very simple. And we're picking up the detailing that exists on the ironwork up here. So if you can see,
that's what I'm asking about, which I can't see. So what is it that it will be?
So it will basically pick up this detail.
Ah,
It'll be
okay.
pickets
All
with
right.
this just simple diamond. And this ironwork remains here at this floor, but we're using that as a reference for the railing around the areaway.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you. And the windows that are the windows part of this application? Or are they?
They're going to be wood. They're going to be wood windows.
That was my question. Okay.
Yeah.
That's my question. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Cass.
Yes. Yeah.
Brian?
Well, I guess I would start with those front windows, the wood windows that you're talking about. In the detail, I couldn't tell if those were true divided lights.
The most likely for thermal performance, we like to do simulated divided lights where we have the spacer that aligns so they appear to be true divided lights. It's not just the applique and you could see through it. It's with the spacer. So technically simulated divided lights.
Well, so would there be a member on the surface of the glass? On the
Yes.
exterior?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's a
Thank you.
sandwich, the exterior, interior, and spacer bar.
Yeah. I think that one of my other complexities about this, and a very, very complex sort of design, but when you're reworking that roof from the front facade, it would seem to me that you have an opportunity to raise the, let's say, the front wall of that sloping artist studio type of facade to minimize the amount of railing that is being shown, because I find both the existing and the new proposed railings to be very objectionable. This is an area where it's so visible from the street that I think that a little more work on trying to hide that would be beneficial, just as you've done in the back facade, where you've raised the facade wall, the parapet, and you are ending up with a much smaller railing.
I absolutely understand what you're saying there. There is, as part of the agreement with the Garden Association, very clear language in that agreement to limit the amount of extensions that happen above the existing roof plane at the time of the establishment of the association. So the other moves that we've made with the elevator and the stair bulkhead are utility driven. So that might be objectionable per that agreement. We erred on the side of caution and tried to limit the amount of extensions that rise above that kind of demising plane of the existing roof. So that's the kind of genesis of the decision to kind of keep the roof where as it was located.
I'll also mention that the view from the street, looking at the angle of the side of the building, that there's an awful lot of exposure there for an awful lot of new construction. That it does seem like it's.
You're talking about this view, Brian?
In addition to the front railing, you have everything behind it that's still so visible from the street. And I just have to wonder if there's something you can do to get a little more blending and a little more so that it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb as it does now.
Is the concern with the stair bulkhead rising back from that vantage point?
That's certainly visible. And in combination with that front railing, I just think there's too much that's being exposed on the top that it's just too visible from the street.
Understood.
Okay, thanks, Brian. Anita?
Yes. Well, while we're up on the roof, I just wanted to add to the comment about the atelier skylights, which I like. Thank you. They're nice and vertical and not suburban and all that good stuff. I do think the proportions are a little wide. They feel very, the ratio of the width to the height doesn't seem quite right. I would make them narrower.
Got it. I understand.
As you wish. Can you show me the ground floor? I just had a few on the exterior elevation. Yeah, a couple of questions. So we're looking at the one on the right. One thing that's very odd to me is there are no basement windows. That just is very odd. And I know you've done some adjustment, and I like that you've aligned the windows. I really do like your project. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But I think it just feels very odd to me that there are no basement windows, and it looks like it couldn't even fit if they were there. So I don't know what happened. And the other thing is the door and the door frame. Great. I think it wider is better and all that good stuff. The only thing that I find very strange about it is there's no wood trim on the sides, and it looks like you could easily do that.
Yeah, I can speak to both of those. Those are great observations. I think there's a bit of almost misrepresentation when you look at pure elevations, because the door being pushed back, actually, there are wood panels on either side. So you kind of reconstitute that framing of where the fluted pilasters in depth instead of like facade application.
It still looks odd because it's got, you don't see too many floating lemon slices in architecture, in this old architecture. The arch always comes down because that's how the weight shows it being distributed.
No, understood. It's probably not very well represented, but there is kind of the thickness of that panel expressed in white.
The return panel.
Right, yeah. Return panel, right. But to your point, can we extend those a little bit more? We were reticent to do that because there's a pretty clear precedent throughout the district of not extending beyond the width of the fan light up above.
I see.
So to express thickness there is kind of a reduction in the width of the door. And we did a number of studies to try to get that proportion just right. So that's kind of in response to the door consideration. The window or basement window, we would love to get basement windows in there. That 1929 alteration established a ground plane several feet below the previous because of the removal of the stoop. And so our efforts, Cassie, if you could go to the slide that's I'm still calling them slides, sorry. If you could go to the image of the areaway that we're proposing,
yeah.
Here you go. So what was happening in this case is we could get a little bit of a window down here in the areaway, but we deemed that the kind of quality of the window in that location, the quality of light, and then view from inside out wasn't worth the brain damage to try to get that in there. But yes, if I had my druthers, we'd have a little bit more front yard to be able to turn that stair and get clearance to get a window in there. But it's really kind of derivative of the decisions in the 1929 alteration.
Yeah, I see that now. I couldn't pick up on that. So it's because it's been lowered basically to sidewalk level.
Exactly.
Which is great in some ways. I mean, that's what people aspire to now. I will say about the trim, and I understand what you just said, but I think, in my opinion, that if you add the casing on either side, you're also giving the door a little bit more presence.
Yeah.
This is all very funkadelic, from the renovations in the 20s. But if you give it a little bit more prestige, I think that would.
Yeah.
It's a nice building. Let's see. And Susan mentioned the ironwork. I imagine it's just pretty basic, so we don't have to. You're not doing some kind of historic Greek key or anything like that. Just sort of
No, it's really the idea is really to sort of take this lower register of the elevation and keep it at the 1920s era. So you can see an elevation here it's got the same detailing as the grill work that was added in the 1920s to the front facade. So we're basically taking that 1920s grill that's up on the upper floor and using that as the model for the areaway railing.
Fine. Thanks, that's it.
Thank you. Chenault, do you have any further questions?
Yes, I have the ability to see through trees. I thought that altogether had been visited, that the rooftop addition is the sort that when all is said and done, nobody's going to know it changed. Although it's bigger, it doesn't jump out as something new. It's just an enlargement of what's there. I questioned the material for the railings as being the most suitable to the district and to the question of visibility. I understand that there are fewer
The roof
vertical,
railing, right?
but I would wonder why not the simple arm railings that are prevalent.
I think from my perspective, it's kind of a synthesis of two considerations. One is to reduce visibility, right? That stainless steel, this like thin fibrous mesh, actually is not nearly as apparent when looking up from the street level as is kind of represented in this presentation. And that's one thing. The other thing is that pattern, just kind of latching on to that from the 1920s, it being chain link, something that utilitarian. We just thought it was kind of an interesting reference to that period in the building's history. So that's really the genesis of that decision. But we could certainly like provide more accurate representations of what that would look like from the street. But I feel that would be less visible than if we did a kind of a standard like 4-inch on center steel railing around the perimeter.
Okay, that's all. Anyone else want to speak, Susan?
All right, well, let's not on the committee, right? Okay, so why don't we move to the public? I think there's a member of the public who would like to speak. Please come and join us and say your name and sit here so we can hear you.
For that 1 minute, please, for the public comment this evening.
Yes. Hi, so my name is Suzanne Epstein, and I live at 389 Bleecker Street. So I am part of a family that's the original membership of the Bleecker Gardens. My grandmother bought the house and was a colleague with Anita Wilkins, who worked very hard on the garden. And I'd like to say I find it's kind of funny who is recognized in history as having been behind the idea of the garden, because of course in the 1930s in Greenwich Village, many of the women who were moving into these houses were working women. And one of the main ideas behind that back garden and the shared garden was the idea that working women would have a place for their children to be safe. And that was one of the main organizations of it. I'm third generation in the building. My daughter is fourth generation. And we are very lucky to still have the ability to have community in this backyard and have our children be safe. At the time, in the late 20s and 30s, when many of these women were working and moving here, it was a rough and tumble neighborhood. We had the docks, we had gangs, and so a great deal of the women.
And if you have something to say about the building itself, okay, if you could move to that, please.
Okay, so the idea is there is a pact in the back area of this garden, and the plan for this house builds out into the garden. Yes, the little area that they have was ceded from the collective to the previous owner for for legal reasons. But it is going to build out into our community. It is going to have a big effect on the space, the size, and the relationship to every house and member of it All the houses are withdrawn a little bit from the communal area so that in the garden, we're not looking into each other's houses and each other's houses is not in the communal space. So I have a big issue with the design for the back of the garden. I could go on. I know we don't have a lot of time. I have another.
Are you saying that it is simply objectionable, or that you feel that it's violating the agreement?
Personally, I do feel it's violating the agreement. I don't think it is taken into account, what is the community notion and the development of the communal space. That is
we will take note of that and included that statement in our resolution.
Okay.
Can I ask a question of the owner? Is there an agreement? I mean, just explain that to me a little bit, how the garden members that take advantage of this open space, they have a contract with each other?
Yes.
So it's like a co-op, or everybody takes?
So it's a signed contract that is renewed every 25 years. It was started in my grandmother's area with Anita Wilkins. And it's a written contract. We have a board of directors.
But it has to be renewed if there's a new owner or if there's a change made to the back of the house.
No, it doesn't get renewed. Everybody who buys in has to buy into the contract. So the new owners are, and I've heard the architects very respectfully talk about this contract and their effort to be part of it. But I feel that there is a notion of public space and community that is in the contract that everybody adheres to, and the building of the back of the building to the very edge of their owned property really interferes with this kind of understanding that it is a quiet communal space where we share, but we have some distance. And I do see sort of a construction of this is going to be their house that's going to push itself as far as it can into the community space.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And Sean, I might just say, I mean, obviously our client is very aware of the agreement, and I think there's perhaps different interpretations of the agreement and the position of the extension sort of sitting within this sort of zone directly behind the house. I think our client understands that they are within the bounds of what's allowed under the agreement. So it's kind of a separate discussion, let's say, among the association. I think, for you and your committee, obviously the discussion is about appropriateness. Certainly, understand you noting this in a resolution, but
this is not, we're assuming that it conforms to the regulations, and if it doesn't, then that will be handled otherwise. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Sure.
Did you want to just do that?
Thank you, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan, is that everyone who wishes?
No, we've got somebody else with us in the room.
And I think there are several people.
And we'll call for them next, yes.
Okay. My name is John Lamb. I'm also a resident of Bleecker Gardens. I'm at 397 Bleecker. We've been there for about 15 years now. And just to confirm and to stress what Suzanne said, I think there is a real sense within the community, and you'll hear from others within Bleecker Gardens too, that while this space might be considered, due to a previous agreement that was made with a prior owner, that the space was, while part of 280's space, it would be used more as a garden area, their own garden, not necessarily building their house out to the lot line. And I think that's a big concern for a lot of us. I mean, this is a communal garden, a communal space. Anyone who bought into this Bleecker Gardens knows that that's the situation. This is for 100 years now, it's been a communal space. So, I mean, we've already talked about, there are other concerns with the plantings by extending the rear out. Part of the garden is not going to get any light. We have a nice crabapple tree there. We have some very nice plantings. Also, another point that was mentioned was, well, they're just bringing it out to the house 278. But 278 is not in our garden. So that's kind of apples and oranges there, whether or not it should be aligned with 278. In terms of this is just a short side, but in terms of the windows on the side there, they'll be looking right into our bedroom and our bathroom, but I guess that's, that's life. No, I understand, I understand. I mean, my main complaint, and I think the complaint of everyone else that you hear from, is that as members of this communal garden, which is, pretty historic and special for us, this is a big and very concerning development for us to have this house being pushed out by, that amount into the communal, what we consider to be part of the communal space.
Thank you for sharing your concerns.
Do I have an opportunity to respond to the window comment? I would like Mr. Lamb to rest assured those are transom windows, so there'll be no eye contact or spying. They're up high enough.
They're up high, you mean?
Yeah, they're up high. Yes.
Above door height.
Yeah.
Are there other people who wish to?
All right, let's ask for people online to raise their hands if they'd like to.
Yes.
I see Sarah Hendrickson has her hand raised. Sarah, please.
Well,
Go ahead.
actually, before Sarah, there was also Emily Menton, and Emily, I had promoted.
Oh, okay, Emily
Yes.
first and then Sarah, sorry.
Yeah, hi. So, just like super quick, my parents have lived in the garden for something like almost 30 years. So I grew up on it, like pretty much entirely in the garden since 1996, 7. So obviously I just want to reiterate and speak for my parents who unfortunately couldn't be here today. Like the importance of the community feeling of the garden as somebody who grew up there as a child, like this, from my perspective, does fundamentally change kind of the community the way that house connects to the larger space. And not just that, it does endanger some of the plantings, particularly there's one very large tree right next to that space, which clearly would have roots that would go under there. So that would be of concern for sure, because that's a plane tree that covers the larger community area. So I do feel that for speaking for my parents and for my larger family, and as a member of the community gardens, the Bleecker Gardens, it's really important to state that this is definitely changing the historical relationship that house has to the garden, that we all have to that garden, and the community that we've built there.
Thank you.
If I could respond to the concern about the tree, we share that concern. We have an arborist that we've been working with to make sure that nothing that we do disturbs the roots of that tree. It's a magnificent tree, and I know it's prized by the entire community there.
Okay, thank you. Sarah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Thanks. My husband John and I own 284 West 11th Street. We've been there almost 15 years. And one of our first neighbors to welcome us was Suzanne's father, Pierre, and he brought over a thick folder of original photos from the 1920s with the laundry lines out and the neighbors gathered and children playing, and the landmarks preservation designation of our gardens, the Bleecker Gardens, as an historic site. And we have always owned very old homes, my husband and I, and we of course fell in love with the magical garden, but we really fell in love with just the historic importance. And as treasurer of the board for the last 15 years, I've been responsible for putting the budget together, and every nickel goes to preserving this garden. But more importantly, everybody is involved, not just board members, all of the residents. We look at all of the reports on what our trees need. We deliberate over what flowers we want to plant and what's thriving and what might need to be changed out, all the masonry. And it's everything to us. And the encroachment of even 10 feet is taking away every square foot that's taken away by this physical structure is taking away from this historic garden. And not only taking away square footage from our garden, but negatively impacting the historic character of our garden. So it's very substantive, and it really speaks to how this is violating the historic designation of this garden, which really shouldn't be touched. So we really urge the community board to incorporate into their resolution to the Landmarks Preservation Commission that this extension into the garden is a serious concern.
Okay, we understand. Thank you very much.
Chanel, can I think it's worth making a point here, and this is maybe not entirely under the purview of the committee, but since it's been brought up, I think it's important to note that this agreement notes that the shared play space and garden I'm going to read this, shall not include the private walled terrace of 280. And that's the area right behind the house in which this extension is proposed. So I'm not going to deny the importance of the open space, but I do want to just make sure that the facts of that agreement are heard by the committee, that there's a carve out at 282 and 280 for the space directly behind the house, that is not included within the shared garden space. So our client is sort of working within the bounds of the agreement and has been engaging with the garden community. And I thought it was just worth, the committee understanding that.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else? Don't see any other hands raised, so thank you.
We've covered everybody who wants to speak of any sort, right?
Sorry, did we have Cynthia Powers speak as
Thank
well?
you. We'll move on to the next.
Sorry, what, Eugene?
Do we have Cynthia Powers speak as well?
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Please try 1 minute. Thank you.
Cynthia?
Is someone speaking, Susan?
Not yet.
Not yet. Cynthia Powers, you are allowed to speak. If you could quickly give your testimony.
Yes, and if you please limit to 1 minute, thank you.
Well, this is going to be a short minute, not there.
Okay, I guess I'm not hearing.
Now there's a new prompt that says 2 participants raised hands.
Okay. Ross Barna. Ross, if you can speak,
Hello,
you are.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Ross. I live in the neighborhood, on the block, I guess on the north side.
You have 1 minute.
And I'm not going to take very much of your time. I think this design is great. It seems appropriate, contextual. I support it. Obviously, I'm not a member of the gardens, but I live on the block and I look forward to seeing what happens.
Thank you. Thanks. Eugene, was there somebody else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, well then we should move on.
Now we'll move along to.
Okay, thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Kat.
Thanks so much. Appreciate
Incredibly clear and thorough presentation. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Thanks again.
Next is
Bye.
118 West 12th Street. To legalize the installation of a stoop gate. This is a situation that it was apparently approved by the staff of the commission, and this is simply, we'll have a look at it to recommend to DOT. Okay, when you're ready, please.
Okay, if we could have all the speakers for this application raise their hand, I'll promote you to panelists. Eric Sheffield, you're being promoted. Okay, Valerie Campbell. Okay.
Great. So I can share my screen here?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, great. Well, thank you for having us. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Well, this is going to be short and sweet compared to the last one. So we'll try to go through quickly, but happy to go back and go into more detail, but let me know. We're the architects for the project. The project's located at 118 West 12th Street. And what we're asking for is to legalize a stoop gate that was installed by our client. The owner is requesting this legalization of the cast iron stoop gate installed at the bottom of their front stair. The gate was custom designed and fabricated to match the style of the historic stair railings and front fence. The gate was installed to address the persistent serious safety, security, and hygiene issues caused by people sleeping and relieving themselves on the stoop and leaving drug paraphernalia on the stoop. The stoop gate has helped alleviate these conditions and improve the security. Its elegant design enhances the townhouse and the streetscape. The project, of course, is in the Greenwich Village Historic District. We're located on West 12th Street between 6th Avenue and 7th Avenue to give you a sense of where we are. These are some, and I'll just run through these quickly, Sanborn maps showing our location from long ago to more present, but not much relevance to the Sanborn maps. Classic 1940s tax photo. So you can see the townhouse here. And the smaller townhouses to the left were, as you can see, torn down and a 1950s apartment building put up next to our townhouse at 118 West 12th Street. These are pictures of the current stoop and the current stoop gate that we are proposing to legalize. You can see all of the detailing is directly taken from the stair railing and neighboring fence of the property. And we do have a sister townhouse right next door to us. These are the yellow dots here are all the stoop gates that have been approved by landmarks in the district.
We're fine with all that because we'd approve them too. So if you
okay. And then here is a long
anything more about your own.
So this is a long, these are all the different stoop gates that were approved in the neighborhood. So I will zoom through here. This was a lovely letter written by our neighbor at 120 West 12th Street, basically reiterating the same problems she's facing there's been this growing, group of people using drugs, using the stoop as a place to sleep where you'll open the door and you'll, walk into somebody who's on drugs right outside your door. Once the stoop gate was installed, those problems have dramatically reduced. And this was just her,
Right.
basically that.
You're very familiar and understand all of this.
Okay, so that's our presentation.
Just go back to the picture of this one.
Absolutely. Let me get back here. So this is our stoop gate. This is our.
Is it automatically closing?
I don't think it is. I will find out and get back to you on that. Unfortunately, I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. That's something that we all systematically require, and we'll, assuming we approve, we'll say provided that it's equipped with an automatic closure mechanism,
We'll
which
add
I
that.
think can be retrofitted somehow.
Yep.
Any questions from the committee?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody any questions from the public? Nope. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks,
Short and
Eric.
sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you so
short and
much.
sweet. Thank you.
the way we like it.
711 Greenwich Street, Eugene, if you'll work on that. The application is for a revocable consent to install an ADA accessible ramp and steps.
And I will promote you as well. Okay, Luke, you can go ahead and begin the presentation.
Hi.
Hi. Is there anyone else with you, or it's just yourself?
No, it's just me today. So hi everybody. My name is Luke Popowski. I'm presenting
We
this.
understand the purpose and need for these ramps. So
Okay.
you'll concentrate on the design of the one you have for your building.
Well, this is just as requested by the DOT. We presented them with basic dimensions required by code for these ramps. They gave us some feedback on the length, the width, the railing they wanted to see, and we just kind of agreed to everything in hopes of getting a quick approval. We also presented this to the LPC already last year, and we got some sort of approval, so I wasn't sure why we had to make another presentation today. But regardless, here I am. It's basic accessibility ramp for people to access the building who need to use a wheelchair.
Okay.
You show the details?
Do you have the proposal to share with us?
Yes. I'm on my computer. Let me see. I think I have to raise my hand on here as well.
If you need time, we'll do the next one, come back to you to see the.
No, I raised my hand already. Jonas panels.
Okay, that account's also been promoted.
How would I share my screen?
I think we've got to move on.
Let's move on to the next one while you figure out how to share your proposal.
Sure.
Okay, if we can just go on, we'll return, don't worry.
I got it.
Oh, he's got it. Great, thank you.
Sorry about that. So this is the property 711 Greenwich Street. We filed a application with the Department of Buildings to change the use of the property from a warehouse to a commercial. It's a banquet hall. As part of that application, we were required to make the building accessible, which was the need for this ramp. Here are some photos of the existing entrance on Charles Street. The main entrance is on Greenwich, but we're proposing this ramp on Charles Street. Here's the existing condition. There's currently a door with a step. The step is going to be removed and substituted with a ramp, as well as a step on this end of the ramp.
Just give us the dimensions of the structure. Its length, its width, and how high it reaches.
3 feet 7 inches on this end. 4 feet 9 inches to 5 foot 3 inches. It has to accommodate a 5 foot ADA turning radius.
Right, okay. That's good. And the materials?
It's a concrete ramp, steel handrail, concrete steps.
And the railing is?
It's welded steel.
And the color?
It is, I don't believe it's colored.
Is it painted or not?
I don't believe it's going to be painted, no. But I could double check that with the architect. And
The metal frame is painted. Isn't that a metal side piece? And the railings are painted.
Okay, I think this had better come back when the material, and the distance to the clearance on the sidewalk.
I have a question. Is the do you have door openers for that door?
What do you mean door openers?
I mean, is the door automated to open from the ramp?
I'm not sure. I think there's a bell that you ring and somebody opens the door for you.
And is there some kind of it looks like it just kind of goes straight through. Is there no provision for, I mean, I guess it's under code, but what's to stop a wheelchair from just going right through to the stairs?
This is as prescribed by code.
It's a landing.
Right, there's a landing.
We need to get back to the sidewalk clearance from the turning platform to the edge of the sidewalk. We didn't get. Is that on the?
It's 7 feet 9 inches, so it's adequate for pedestrian through traffic.
And there's a planter, a tree.
Those are existing. We're not proposing those. There are trees.
But it impacts the clearance.
Yeah, it looks like there's a dimension from the ramp to the tree bed. Can you?
So
zoom in?
this is, so this clearance right here is 5 feet.
Okay.
So there is clearance. And this planter is not impacting it. So there is clearance if you're coming out here, there's 5 feet, and then you're unimpeded going past the ramp down Charles Street.
What we're going to be obliged to say something about the color, so we will make the approval, if we're going to approve it, provisional that it's some color. I assume we'll say black.
It is black. I saw it right here. Bent steel diamond plate 3/8 framework painted black. So those are the.
Are there any more questions from the committee?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry. Anybody else, Susan?
Anybody in the is there any member of the public who has a question or comment? Nope, we can move on.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hudson Street. The application is to install a vinyl mural on a storefront.
Okay.
That to say storefront, on storefront windows, because that's what the impact is.
Okay, so I've promoted up Brenna. And Brenna, when you have joined, you can share your application or share your presentation. Brenna? Brenna, if you could turn your camera on and also share your presentation. So I've promoted Brenna Sheehan, but.
Hi,
Okay.
I'm here. I'm sorry about that.
Well,
Thank you so much.
In the row, please be ready with your presentation and whatever you need to do with your computer. Thank you. Okay, if you will, please.
Hi, I'm from Salt. Can you see my screen?
Yes. No, not your screen. We can see your face.
Okay, great. I'm going to share my screen. Ugh.
If you need time to work this out, we can move on to the next one and come back to you.
Sure, thank you. I'm sorry about that.
All right, let's do that. Let's do that.
If we could be ready, please, with 102 Greene Street. Eugene, if you'll work on that. The application is to legalize work performed without LPC approval consisting of replacement of cast iron vault steps with diamond plate. We've been round and round on the status of this. It is not a and a violation at this time. It's only had a warning, and the application is in fact to make permanent a temporary work that's been done.
You guys hear me? See my screen? Apologize for the raspy voice. My name is Adam Cohen. I'm the structural engineer for this whole thing. We were hired to do a removal and replacement of the sidewalk vault. It was deemed unsafe and it was leaking terribly. This is a current condition of the building. The two steps on the north side are the issues in question. Essentially, we're requesting to replace the cast iron bullet light steps with diamond plate steps. We are located in the SoHo Cast Iron Historic District between Prince and Spring Street. Historic photo, just so you get a sense of the area. There's 1 and 2 Greene Street sort of on the left here. On the right, you can see it's a Cartier now. Again, this is a current photo, people sitting on the steps and using them. This is the condition of the steps prior to construction. The left side was already covered in diamond plate. The right side was exposed. You can see some of the deterioration that was happening. This is some photos from below on the north steps. They were very fractured. On the right side, while they look good maybe from afar, you can see some attempted bondo repairs and sealant was done in the past. They were actually in pretty bad shape. When we initially approached Landmarks, we advised them of this, and we came up with sort of a plan, or I should say an attempted plan, to try and salvage these pieces, install them on top of a structural concrete slab with waterproofing so everything would be sealed, and place the steps back on a steel frame and essentially stitch them back together. It was a little ambitious, but we did want to preserve this as best as possible. Unfortunately, when they were opened up, they were really, really bad. The top step literally fell to pieces. This broke. All the bullet lights came out. They were just not salvageable. As you can see in these photos, we had already installed 90% of the sidewalk. Essentially everything but the steps had been installed. We didn't want to leave a hole in the sidewalk and any kind of entry into a high-end store. So this is the piece, excuse me, I got ahead of myself. This is all that was salvageable at the end of it all. So the owners invested in basically a temporary installation of diamond plate just to get something back there. And frankly, it looked great, we thought. And so we approached the LPC to see if, essentially almost what was intended as a temporary install or a mock-up, if you will, could be approved to be left in place. We did a little study of the area, specifically on this block. We found 4 other properties that already have diamond plate over their steps. I zoom in a little. This is 114 Greene Street, 112 Greene Street, 96, a little more rough and tumble, but it exists. And of course, 95 Greene Street across the street. So this is the extent of my presentation. That is what is done and what we're hoping to get a recommendation for approval from.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anita or Brian, do you have any questions? Brian?
No.
No, this is quite a remarkable front door on that shop now. It's a historic factor right there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Okay,
Hey,
Chenault, do you
I
have any
want to be sure, sir, that I am correct, that there is not a violation. This was done under a temporary permit, and you're simply asking us to make permanent, to recommend permanent.
Our permits are open. If I understand correctly, it's in violation. It's not a legalization. The expediter is currently on board as well, I believe, and they may be able to speak to that a little more directly, but that's my understanding, yes.
So, well, we'll word it in that way then, because that's our understanding from talking to the commission. Okay. Anybody, anywhere want to have questions, Susan?
Anybody from the public wish to speak?
I have Pete. Let me allow Pete to speak.
Go ahead, Pete.
1 minute, please, Pete.
Yep, thank you very much. Speaking for Broadway Residents Coalition in SoHo, we were instrumental in making sure this door was saved, which the tenant wanted to get rid of it. We won out, so that was good. It looks fantastic. I'm just a little surprised, given the condition that you saw from beneath, that maybe it was just wishful thinking that you hoped you could save it, but that then you went ahead and did it without doing what you know is needed. So, ideally, we'd get the lights back. We'd get the historic material back. I don't know. And I hope the committee urges that, because the material was there and we've seen worse that's been south. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete. Anybody else, Eugene?
I don't see anyone else.
Okay. Chenault, have you had all your questions answered?
Yeah, yes. I'm fine.
Okay, then I think we can move on. Let's check back in with our 540 Hudson Street applicant and see if she's ready to screen share yet.
Thank you.
Brenna, if you are ready to screen share, please raise your hand and Eugene will promote you to panelist. David Page raised his hand.
Okay, I'll promote David Page, and I actually don't see Brenna. I don't know, she dropped off. She's no longer listed in the participant list.
Okay, do you have Bank Street then?
I'm getting David Page and Sarah Ripple.
Are they both associated with Hudson Street?
I don't know, because I'm
Oh, I
operating
see.
without a
Okay.
list, so.
All right. Yes, Hudson Street. Here's the presentation. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brenna Sheehan.
I'll read it. I should read it again since we're at that stage of the tape. The application is to install a vinyl mural on storefront windows.
Hi, I'm Brenna Sheehan. I work for Salt and Straw. We're an ice cream shop at 540 Hudson, the corner of Charles Street. Can you go to the next slide, David? You can see our location in the historic Greenwich Village Historic District. Keep going. Here are some exterior images of the building. You can see that this is it's a contemporary building in the historic district, but not an historic building. It's 2 years old. It was a gas station prior, and it's a cool wavy facade, nice take on a cornice. We have this beautiful corner entrance, and we love being there. Can you please continue? Some details on the curved entry, the window edge detail. We won't be touching any of that. Again, this is for a removable, reversible vinyl. Everything's new and will not be disturbed. Keep going, please. So we're inspired to do this by the Greenwich Village landscape, the tree-lined blocks of Manhattan, distinctive ironwork, the red and white and the brownstone bricks. We love being in the West Village. It's a vibrant community, and our proposed mural design is below. It's rather small, but it gives you an idea. We'll keep moving and get to those photos since it's been a long meeting so far. Thanks so much. So the trees are our inspiration. You've got some of the most trees in all of New York City in the village, all different types. Keep going. And, also the ironwork of the beautiful brownstones. We mix it here with the red and white ribbon swirls, which are evocative of our original shop in Portland, Oregon, and also of our ice cream swirls. So that combined with the stoops of the village. This is an example of on 6th Avenue and 8th Street, that old Barnes & Noble, famous, right? They put some vinyls in the window. It was suggested we share this and was approved. Keep going. And this is our floor plan. You can see, so the west elevation, those are 2 windows. That's a window transom there. And then our corner entrance. On the south side, 2 other windows, and then a third window where the vinyl will be on a metal panel. So it will be exterior installed because we have glass and metal, as well as the back door to our space, which is a back of house door, and a final window that our walk-in freezer is behind. And currently that window, as well as the back of house door, have been staff approved for a grayscale vinyl so that it's you can't see in.
It's just blacked out, in other words.
Grayscale, yes. So here's the west elevation on Hudson Street. In A and B windows, we're using less than 5% of, less than 5 square feet. And in the B1 transom, which is a window, it's less than 10 square feet. In A and B, the white sections, it's a window. You can see into the shop. This is the Charles Street side. In C and D, those are also windows. Again, with the 5 square feet and about 10 square feet of coverage. If we move over to E, that transom is a metal panel. And then below it, you've got the third window as well as the doors into our back of house, which those are the ones with the grayscale vinyl right now. The final window on the right is the window that our walk-in freezer is backed to, so that has a grayscale vinyl now. And again, we would put this design. The cutouts in this area and on the doors would be grayscale, so you could not see through. Keep going. This is just another view with the brick of the building to give you more of a feel for it in color. Another view shows the grayscale. Yes, thank you, David. And then finally, an example of what this looks like at a shop we have on the Upper West Side, and another view of it at the bottom. This is done by a Brooklyn-based artist named Dan Funderburg. And thank you so much for your consideration. Any questions?
Anita.
This is a vinyl applied on the exterior,
Yes.
but only on the glass.
On the glass and the metal transom, which is that longer double length piece on the Charles Street side.
Is that solid in reality?
It's solid, yes.
And what happened on the other side? You didn't want to continue?
The last window that has our demise ends here, and that is exhaust. It's the air conditioning venting.
Okay, thank you. Brian, do you have a question?
Well, it's when I saw the address and I went over there, just with a list of addresses. And I thought for sure that it was going to be your neighbor, the clinic next door, NYU, I think, which is just, the windows are plastered with all kinds of stuff that you can hardly see in, and lots of signage, lots of names and instructions and hours of operation. I mean, it seems like they should be coming before us.
Right.
So I doesn't take away from what you have presented. I think that it's going to be, it would be difficult for me to really ascertain the benefit to the historic neighborhood, even though it's a new building. They did a pretty nice job of getting it to blend in. And this reminds me of a pizza place on the corner of 8th Street and 6th Avenue that put up a big signage just to attract attention. So, I don't know, that seems to be what's happening here. I don't know anything I could ask that would clarify anything. Seems pretty straightforward.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. You kept referencing I guess, the grayscale. So are you referring to the doors that have the grayscale and the graphics are on top of the grayscale? Like, is the coverage going to be 100%?
It'll be 100% correct.
So it's that last window and then the two doors? Is
Yes.
that-
Can you make it bigger, David? Thank you. Right there.
Could I ask a question, please?
Yes, go ahead, Albert. Nice to see you.
I am. I've been waiting for this. This is the old Bill Gottlieb property. How many is not just an application for a mural? How many murals are there in total?
David.
How many windows?
So if we count everything, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 spaces, but most of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, only 5% of the window is being covered. The rest of it, I mean, we want people to be able to look in.
So there's really only one window on Charles Street that is filled with
Correct. That's full coverage.
material. Okay.
What is it now?
It's just very
There was?
interesting on an interesting building. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Right
Thanks,
now,
Albert.
it's a grayscale vinyl that was staff approved at the landmarks.
Susan, are there other, anybody, has everyone spoken there? And it's my turn.
Oh, let me.
Ryan has another question.
Do you?
No, you do.
Well, yes. I don't think you've mentioned it, but besides the colorful design, you also have a lot of labels, lettering on the windows, do you not?
Yeah, it explains that it's craft-made ice cream. And that was approved as part of our signage package.
That was approved by LPC previously? Is that what you're saying?
David? I believe yes.
When we spoke with a member from the LPC, they said that all the gold lettering was previously approved and this submittal was only for the murals.
Okay, thank you.
Could you go back to the renderings or the drawings? So, okay, so it does have the gold lettering there. So this is everything, everything is represented here in this proposed view, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
But the gold lettering is existing.
That's existing, right, right.
Yes, existing approved.
And this is all the lettering there is?
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else in the room, Susan?
I guess I just have one question,
I have some questions.
just to be diligent. Can we assume that there's no additional illumination to accompany this? No illumination.
No illumination, no.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
My question is about the appropriateness. Just looking at the design, it seems like it's not that different from the proliferation of flowers. It's flat flowers, and the fact that it's stuck on vinyl and certainly is not of any historic note, and it's, if one could say, in keeping with the architecture of the building, which is a reasonable modern brick building that lies rather well within the district. It's purely decorative, and somehow it doesn't seem to fit the space as a permanent thing.
Well, it is vinyl that is reversible and removable.
Well, the reversible is good and almost required, but the fact is, for the time that it's up, one's going to be looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that it's harming the building, which I wasn't suggesting, but that it is decorative rather than having a kind of attached feeling of permanence to the business or just as a design idea.
It's a feeling of permanence for us as a business. We often do murals, and we do we're about community. This was created our business as a community gathering place, and we
All
have
of which is fun. Our question here is this something that's appropriate to the historic district?
Mm-hmm.
And the reference that you showed from the I've forgotten which building it is.
Rite Aid across the
6th
street.
Avenue. Certainly was not in any way like this.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't really help sell. That doesn't really help. It's not really a winning argument, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I'd go back to the presentation, David.
Once again, please, if I may.
Yes, Albert, please.
This is rather an austere brick structure. And I'm sorry, Chanel, that word is going to come up again. Inappropriate. Although this is an application for the appropriate. This is just my comment. Having watched this property change over many years.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Albert. Thanks for that.
Nice to see all you guys.
Likewise, always. Eugene.
Thank you. I have another question. I guess in the presentation there was an example given for the store, I guess is it the Upper West Side?
Mm-hmm.
Are those graphics different?
Yes.
They look very similar.
Well, they do have our swirls, but they don't include the trees or the ironwork.
I also believe the artist changed the color palette down, the tone down so slightly as well, with some more peach and kind of creams incorporated more than the typical reds that are just to
That
be more
other
incorporated.
example, I was not hearing totally well. That other example is not in the district, right?
No.
Okay.
And
that's
where it
a key
is,
thing, because we're dealing with this district and what it looks
Good.
like in this district and appropriateness to this.
right,
And I haven't seen any example shown of anything that's been approved that approaches this, to say that something's been approved as already as along these lines.
No, we're stepping forward.
Okay, thanks. And your Upper West Side installation, you're not located in an historic district up there, are you? No, okay. All right, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Anybody from the public?
I think Pete has his hand raised.
Hi, yeah, and just a quick comment. In a nearby historic district here in CB2 in SoHo, the Museum of Ice Cream actually had a temporary outdoor installation. It was limited by time, and then they had to remove it. I know that you're putting your vinyl up on you're on the outside, therefore it would seem in line with that. So I agree with you, Chenault, that this is much more of a temporary idea, and the permanence is really where the problem comes in.
Yeah. Thank you, Pete. That's a point well taken, I think, both you and Chenault have made. Thank you. Anybody else? All right, thank you very much, Brenna.
Thank you.
Bank Street is next,
Thank you.
Eugene. If I'm keeping up correctly. 1315 Bank Street. The application is to replace ironwork in the areaway and parlor floor windows to match 13 Bank Street. Add a rooftop pergola, paint the rear facade, and modify masonry openings in the rear facade to align with 13 Bank Street. When you're ready, please.
Okay, so
Again, we're familiar with the neighborhood and so forth, and if you deal particularly with your building and what's being done.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sarah Ripple with Higgins Quaysbarth and Partners. I'm joined this evening by Cindy Michelle from Ferguson and Shimamian Architects. Thank you so much for your time this evening. I'll try to be helpful, but to the point. So we're happy to bring to you this evening 15 Bank Street. It's just on the north side of Bank Street, west of Waverly Place, of course, in the Greenwich Village Historic District. The building is originally an 1852 construction of late Greek Revival style. It was constructed together, and looking in this photograph on the left is 15 Bank. It was constructed together with 13 Bank on the right, somewhat as a sister building, and using 11 Bank Street as a prototype. The owners of 13 recently acquired 15 and are connecting the houses internally. The vast majority of that project has been reviewed and approved already by Landmark staff due to the modest scope and kind of limited locations of where that's occurring. These properties do show a bit of history of change at the facades, and the proposal aims to restore some of the cohesiveness between the two and within the context of the rest of the block at the primary elevation. We're proposing new ironwork at the primary facade to match the historic ironwork from the neighbors, a new pergola at the roof, painting the rear facade to match 13 Bank, and alterations of the rear windows also to match 13 Bank. So a little bit of history. Here's 11, 13, and 15 as introduced previously. They're all originally 3-story brick row houses, Greek Revival or late Greek Revival in style. As is very common within the village, was the updating of earlier mid-19th century Greek Revival style homes with Italianate details in the later 19th century when Italianate was en vogue. And so in 1933, in this photograph, the ironwork that you see at 13 Bank is Italianate stylistically, and the parlor floor has this lovely balconette, as does 11 Bank, although the detailing of the actual ironwork is different. And you can just see on 15 Bank some profiled window lintels that are visible. Those are also more Italianate in style. So following that trend and kind of common story in the village. So in 1940, there's more change. The stoop has been removed here on the left at 15 Bank. The parlor floor windows are, changed as a result of that, and there's new simplified ironwork below and at the areaway. By designation, the photograph on the right, the roof line of 15 Bank has been raised to give the attic floor a higher head height. You see that 13 Bank also underwent the same change as evidenced by that parapet condition. With the raised parapet, these two houses are starting to move away from the typically smaller massing of Greek Revival style. So to look at current conditions at 15 and its sister at 13, they're a bit more transitional Italianate in terms of scale and detailing at this point. In 2008, 15 Bank underwent a comprehensive renovation involving facade reconstruction, reconstruction of the stoop and areaway, construction of a full fourth floor, like extending that attic level a bit more perhaps, and adding in windows at that level. And you see that 13 Bank also received fourth floor windows that happened in 2001. All of this is to say that 15 Bank and its sister at 13 have experienced the updates and significant change over time that are fairly common within the district, resulting in a natural evolution from the Greek Revival origins to a more Italianate identity. And so you'll also note in a minute that the row houses on the block that are part of a different row, but from 17 to 27 Bank, the immediate context of the block are Italianate, 1856 construction. So some detailed views of the existing ironwork at the primary facade. So taking a look at the elevations of 13 and 15 Bank here, we have existing at left, proposed at right. You see the metal window guards at the basement, parlor floor window grills, the stoop ironwork and areaway ironwork are all proposed to match 13 Bank. This is in conjunction with some work that's already been reviewed by staff in the effort to improve the relationship between the two, including new doors at 15 Bank. And then, of course, you see at the roof a new pergola to match an existing pergola that's at 13. So quick looks at those different areas of ironwork. This is the basement window guards. The existing on 15 on this left-hand photo are not historic and feature a simplified modern take on a Greek key. And the proposed window guards are to match those at 13 Bank, simple iron bars with a leaf motif cap painted black. Then moving up to the parlor floor, the ironwork at 13 Bank in the top photo was installed around 2020. This approval was based on that 1933 photograph that we saw at the beginning, which showed the balconette and the railings with the Italianate sculptural flourishes, and then detailed based on existing historic ironwork at 17 Bank. So those new window grills at the parlor level of 15 will match the detailing of this. Matching the window grills, the areaway and stoop ironwork replaces the circa 2008 modern Greek key railings. A lot of the same detailing as what we just saw at the parlor floor windows. And then the stoop railing here, same detailing, of course, for the actual railing, but they'll also have newel posts matching the historic examples on the block and also at 13 Bank. Our team does have the approved drawings from the work at 13 Bank from 2020 and can have everything produced to the smallest detail to match because of that. So the new ironwork at 15 will more closely relate to the character of the rest of the buildings and will fit contextually within the block. As I alluded to before, there are, an abundance of examples from 17 to 27 Bank Street of historic ironwork that we will be matching. And then, of course, the ironwork that was approved at 13 Bank in, just a few years ago. So moving to the back, the scope includes altering the existing fourth floor windows at 15 Bank to match 13, and also painting the rear facade to match. The rear facades also exhibit a history of change. The fourth floor windows at 13 Bank, the white facade, were altered to match 11 Bank that you see just kind of to the left of this photo. That was in 2019. And it showed signs of work above those windows as well. So the whole kind of top part of that building seems to have been messed with a little bit. At 15 Bank, the rear facade was reconstructed as part of that 2008 project when the basement and parlor floor door alterations were completed. The rear facade of 15 Bank is entirely new. It has CMU backup with a new brick cladding. Helpful to note that it's not visible from anywhere, so it's entirely enclosed within that block interior. looking at the windows, the proposed change is to extend the height of the windows to match those at 13. This will provide consistency across the two buildings, and also reestablish the rear facade relationship between the two. Often when Landmarks is looking at and reviewing work at, within a row, a big consideration is that relationship and maintaining this top floor row that has been altered. And so this application intends to kind of knit that back together. So the increase in height in the windows is just 7 brick courses. The windows are currently 3'1", and the proposed are 4'8". The windows will be 6/6 painted wood sashes, and the lintels will be cast stone. The rear facade here, the currently is the circa 2008 orangey red brick. Is proposed to be painted white to match 13 bank using a breathable paint. Given the reconstruction in 2008, this would not therefore affect any historic material. And as noted, it's not visible from anywhere. At the roof, a new painted pergola is proposed at the 15 bank roof to match the existing at 13 bank in terms of size, detailing, and color. The pergola at 13 bank is located at you see the lower roof deck elevation. You have to descend a few steps to get down to reach it, while the pergola at 15 bank is proposed at that upper roof deck. A few photos of the existing conditions at the roof, looking north here towards the backyard, and then looking towards Bank Street at that parapet. So the pergola will be set back from the parapet by about 6 feet at the east end. It's approximately 9.5 feet wide by 14.5 feet long. And let's keep going. In section, this is looking east. We have the existing above and the proposed below. It'll be a little less than 9.5 feet tall. This provides the necessary 6 foot wide by 9 foot tall clear path for FDNY. And then taking a look at the visibility, significantly the visibility of the pergola is limited. From across the street here in the first view, there's no visibility. Also at the corner, no visibility. And then as you move across the street to Waverly, you start to see the top. It's really quite minimal. It's really only the reading of that horizontal rafter. That nice green color will allow it to kind of recede into blue or gray sky. And then moving a little bit further down Waverly, just another view showing slightly more. At any point, there's less than 2 feet of the pergola actually visible from any of these points. And then the last point here, kind of starting to move off the map, is really where it starts to disappear and you lose visibility of it entirely behind that corner building. So all in all, there's about 25 feet of sidewalk space where you'll actually catch a glimpse of this. The proposal, all the pieces of scope together is quite modest. The ironwork knits 15 bank into the streetscape more cohesively and reflects the historic style of the row house. The work at the rear, importantly, will not be visible or affect any historic fabric. And the pergola at the roof here is minorly visible and really will only be seen from a very short stretch, a very limited area. So with that, Cindy and I are happy to take any questions that you might have.
Would you go back, please, to the rendering of the rear facade, the upper portion?
Yes.
The next one is the one where I was vague.
This elevation?
I'm sorry, the next one. There.
Okay.
There was one, a detail of the very top. Go forward one and up. There.
Okay.
I can't see. The only changes are on the roof, right?
Correct. So, and to
Okay,
clarify, this
okay.
this is a front elevation. This was moving back towards the front and seeing the
Oh, right.
pergola.
I see. That's what. Okay. Okay. Fine. Oh, I was just. I thought we're still on the rear. That's why I was
Okay.
concerned about such detail on the rear. Okay. Thank
Sorry
you.
for that confusion.
Are there
Yes.
questions from the?
Yeah, I have a concern and kind of a question about the front facade. This is not at all a negative comment on the work that was done at 13 by any means. But, you know, as we know, our neighborhoods are living, breathing places, and the history of change over time that's reflected on the front facades of these row houses are of value in themselves. They are not necessarily something to just be discarded. So it is of concern that this plan kind of proposes in its, in a way, in its diligence and its kind of to return to its original or an earlier condition at any rate. But at the same time, it erases a later condition. And I think, we on this committee have been very concerned about maintaining the integrity of individual row houses. As more and more property owners combine townhouses, where once one was considered enough, now two, sometimes three, and there seems to be a kind of constant sort of competition on this level. So it becomes a real matter of concern for us that visually the appearance of distinct, unique houses is maintained. And in these kinds of situations, we like to see some kind of distinct identity expressed, even when they are siblings. They may be siblings, but they don't have to be identical twins. What does that here? What retains the fact that these are two distinct buildings and not just one ostentatious mansion?
Yes, that's a good question and a good point. So the change at the ironwork, we find to be kind of in aesthetic harmony with 13 Bank and kind of speaks to that sisterly relationship. What really maintains the individual identities is the fact that that main stoop and the primary entrance is being retained. There's an individual cornice line. There's a break between those cornices. Those are the kind of primary factors that allow a building, I think, to continue to read as an individual premises. The fact that you could, in theory, go up any one of the stoops and it be a separate house. That the ironwork is changing is, just more consistent with the kind of stylistic evolution of this building itself, and in matching the sister building and some of the other buildings on the street, is consistent with the kind of historic district context and appropriate detailing, and basing it on something that is real to this block and the streetscape. But I do agree. I think it's very important to maintain those primary entries, not removing the stoop and kind of creating just a window bay across that building. It does a lot of work. It does a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of maintaining that sense of individuality.
Okay, thank you for that answer. One other question is, I don't understand on the south existing elevation, there's a vertical line separating the two buildings, which does not appear in the proposed elevation. What does that line represent?
That, let me go to the photograph and see. So the buildings are knit together. The brick is continuous across. It's toothed in. There isn't, I think it's just a graphic thing. I think it was.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't represent any kind of, break. They are currently knit together and they will be maintained in that way.
Okay, thank you for your answers. Anita?
Yes, could you talk a little bit about the Italianate railing and whether, does it just have a front side? You know, a lot of times they're almost like they're embossed and then they're just hollow.
Right, let me go to the section.
Two-faced or one-faced?
It's two-faced, and so it'll be based on, in looking at these examples from 2325 down the street and 17 Bank, these are the historic examples that we're using. So it is an in the round, so to speak, railing.
So it would, if you look on the other side, it'll look just the same.
Yes.
Not concave, but convex. All right, good, thank you.
Anybody else? Brian, did you have anything?
No, I don't.
No.
Very clear presentation.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Anybody from the public? Or Eugene or Albert or Chenault?
Yes, you ready for me? I was very interested in the Susan discussion, and particularly going back to the picture. The tiny details really do make them distinctive, not to mention the two stoops. I just beg you not to let the client load up the stoop that's not being used with planters, which has become the default thing with these houses, so that you clearly couldn't get in. There are two that are close by this one, and in each case, they've put great, huge pots that you couldn't move on them. And it disturbs the idea that they might be separate houses.
Understood, yes.
Okay, anybody else?
I
All
don't
right.
think anyone will know that they're united from this presentation.
Okay. All right, thank you, Sarah.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
And Cindy.
Susan,
Anthony.
there are no other questions.
There were no other questions, no, correct, Eugene?
That's correct. There were no other questions.
Yes, so we can move on. Thank you very much, everybody,
For your time.
for your presentation.
280 West 11th Street, Eugene, carry on. Application to alter the
No, we
front
did
door.
280 West 11th, Chanel. We did that
I'm
first.
sorry. I'm just muddling down.
Unless you have another hour to spare.
392 West Broadway. To convert an existing building to 4 residential units with existing retail store on the ground floor, construct a penthouse rooftop structure, extending the existing parapets vertically, removing the ladders from the existing fire escape, and removing the dividing mullion at the windows at the fire escape, and removing the existing elevator bulkhead on the roof. Now I can breathe. I want to ask, is this being converted from a commercial building to a residential building, or is it reconfiguring of residential space?
Hi, good evening. My name is Mike Rosani with Michael Zenreich Architects, and this is presently a commercial building.
Okay, so there's no residence being changed to do it.
No.
That's fine. Thank you.
Well, there were 2 joint living quarter for working artist units in the building. They have vacated, so at the present time, there's only a commercial tenant on the 5th floor, along with the retail tenant.
Okay, that's fine.
Could you let us know when the JLWQA units were vacated?
Before our involvement in the project, I know one of the tenants was a photographer, but he passed away, and I'm not sure about the other unit. But as far as we've been working on this project for the past year or so, we're not aware of anybody that's lived there for a while.
Okay, thank you.
So I will pull up my screen. Okay. So 392 West Broadway is located just south of Spring Street in the cast iron extension district, actually. And as previously mentioned, there is, this is an Article 7B conversion that we're doing to the building. So there's quite a lot of work that we have been discussing with landmarks. And these are the items, part of the projects that are going towards the full commission hearing. There's other items that I'll bring up as we go through the presentation that they're going to be approving at staff level.
Okay, if you be very clear about that, because of the way
Yes. Yeah, so these are the items that the commission has to review.
Yeah, but just as you go.
Yes.
And
I will, yes.
Thank you.
So here we can see some historic photographs of the building and the present condition of the building. It's generally in the same condition that it was going back to the 1940s. There was a modification to the entry stoop and platform in, I believe, 1984. That's the only significant change that we've been able to identify outside of the addition of the elevator bulkhead, which we're proposing to remove. This is a photograph of the existing rear of the building. And this is one of those elements that we're going to be getting a staff level approval on for replacement of the windows and replacement or restoration of the steel shutters. So we're proposing to retain that look on the back of the building, which is partially visible. Here at the front of the building, you can see on the left side the existing conditions. And on the right, you can see that we've shown the removal of the ladders on the fire escapes and the addition of the penthouse structure on the roof. From the rear elevation, you can see how we're going to be opening up some old windows that have been bricked up over time, and restoring and replacing all the shutters to have a nice cohesive look on that back facade. And you can see the extension that we're proposing of the parapet to level that out, which we'll go into more detail as we look at some of the section drawings, and then the penthouse structure above. We can kind of skim through these. These are just some program plans of the cellar, the existing and proposed first floor, typical floor plans. So these are going to be single floor residential units. So there'll be 4 units in total, with the penthouse being part of the 5th floor unit. This is our proposed 5th floor and penthouse plan. We have come up with a design for this penthouse structure, which fits within our zoning envelope, and it's set back from the north facade and from the east. And we'll get some better views of that as we go through. Here are some axonometric images of the penthouse structure on the building and how it sits and relates to the rest of the roof, both from the south and from the north. We have some renderings of what the proposed penthouse will look like from the rooftop. We've also done we've actually built a mock-up on the roof, and we have some photo montage images that will show you as well to see the visibility aspects. But you can see that this structure is clad in a soldier course black brick with a black fascia bar with an aluminum kind of trellis structure and a wood tone. And that's mainly to allow us to provide a outdoor grill in this location and keep everything non-combustible. At the rear, we also have this trellis structure with a hot tub that's proposed to be going in this corner. However, none of this is visible from any of the streets. This is our material board, which indicates the different materials that are being utilized at that penthouse structure. So this is the existing north elevation. Right now, it's a painted wall. We are working with staff at Landmarks to strip this wall and repoint it. And this mural is in process of being redone by the retail tenant, 7 for All Mankind. I believe they came to you not too long ago for that mural approval, which they've obtained from Landmarks. And here you can see the proposed elevation from the north side. And what we're doing is taking this high point of the existing parapet and running that straight across. So we're going to be increasing the size of those parapets vertically to enclose the roof terrace on the roof And on top of that, we're proposing a glass railing to get our code requirement for the height of the railing. These are some drawings of the penthouse structure, just for size and scale. We're keeping it to basically 10 feet above the proposed roof floor, which is going to be a stone paver system on top of the existing, on top of pavers. We have a building section showing that we have removed the elevator bulkhead, and we're going to have a very minimal pop-up now, which won't be visible as we're increasing the size of the elevator to meet building code requirements. And then you can see that the penthouse structure is 10 feet high above those roof pavers. And you can see in the background the hot tub and this trellis. We did a mock-up on the building and did a visibility study, and we've walked this with landmarks as well last week. So you can see in these photographs, the mock-up structure is wrapped in an orange mesh right now. And I think it'll be a little bit more helpful if we go to the rendered images because it makes it a little bit more clear what we're looking at. But we did study it from multiple angles, as well as this is the view from the rear. So you can see from the rear, there's very minimal visibility of the rear facade.
In this one that if we go back to it, I think it'll be clear. The line that is straight from front to back is the addition to the parapet. Is that
Correct.
Right?
That's correct. And you can see
So
here on this image,
structure kind of thing is only what we see the
little pop above.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Where was
we have
Where was that photo taken? Do you know from what street that we see the back of? That we see the rear?
it's I can't remember the name of this street.
Thompson?
Yes, Thompson. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's in this lot right here, there is there's a restaurant, I believe, in the back of the property. In the front is a garden.
That's the old loading docks,
Yeah.
the restaurant. It's my favorite restaurant.
So here's one of the rendered images that we put together, and you can see that we're showing the extension of that parapet going straight across to the back, the glass railing. We have some exposed fireplace flues that will be stainless steel in the material. And then you can see the wrapping of this fascia of the penthouse just above it. And given that we have this building directly behind us, which is a gray tone type building, you can see in these existing photographs, we feel that what we're proposing is blending in well to the building behind ours. And it doesn't have that much of an impact visually as you walk down the street. And again,
it looks pretty
that view is from this very particular corner at Spring Street within, I'd say, a 20-foot span is when you have that primary view.
And how far is that from the building itself? About
392 is here, so we're probably about 250 feet. Something like that, from this corner over to there. This is another image taken a little bit further up the street where you can see this, again, we have the parapet extension, the railings, a little bit of the flues, and then this line of the fascia of the penthouse structure. You can partially see here in the gray where it's the brick wall, and then this is where our glass sliding wall is to the northwest of our addition. And then this is the rendering from the rear, showing an extension of that parapet. We're not exactly sure if this is a finished cornice or if it's just capping of the roofing. We've been discussing with landmarks about if we do discover a cornice, that we will, make adjustments to the design, potentially, modify how this parapet gets extended. The moment I feel that it's just a capping of the existing roof, but we'll find that out once we open it up. And then we had some reference photos just of some additional buildings in the cast iron district that have gotten approval for removal of the ladders on the fire escapes. There's 4 examples here. And I'd like to open it up to any questions.
Chanel, do you have any questions?
No. No, I think I'm up to date.
Brian or Anita?
Well, I might just confirm that,
Oh.
that is as minimal as these views are, it's never of the expanse of glass in the penthouse house.
Mhm.
It doesn't look like it. You never get any hint that it looks like it does from any view on the street.
No, not really, because it is pretty minimal, and what you see, you really only see this top corner is what you're seeing from that street, is you're seeing a portion of this rounded corner, and then to about this level, and you see a little bit, and maybe the top 18 inches of this wall is what you see, going back in just a portion of this sliding glass wall, which is this right here.
Yep. Okay.
Brian?
Nothing.
No? Sean?
So this is going to be purely all residential, with the exception of the ground floor?
Correct. Yeah, if we go, I can show you, just quickly.
It'll be, if I can ask for the zoning, it'll be an R2 or any jointly work quarters?
No, this is a straight residential. This would be a use group 2.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Eugene, do you or anybody else have any questions? And if not, let's open it up to the public.
If there are questions from the public, raise your hand. I don't see any.
Okay. And I think we can move on.
I just wanted to say how nice it is that the fire escape balconies are retained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the good part of it because it doesn't cut the facade, and it's such a nice historic memory.
Oh, one thing we forgot to discuss, I wanted to bring to your attention. So right now, presently, if we look at the existing conditions, you can see that when this fire escape was installed, the windows are all very similar. However, these center windows have a dividing bar in the middle right now, so they're split in half. So part of this alteration, what we're looking to do, since the fire escapes will no longer be utilized, and we are replacing all of the windows on the front facade because they are old and they're not in great condition, but we are mimicking them, and it will be a staff level approval. We are proposing to remove this center dividing bar. And you can see in the elevation how presently there's this about 10-inch span between the windows that we're looking to remove, and we feel like that will give the facade a more cohesive look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Right. You're just pointing that out.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Michael.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay, if I'm not confused, we're at the last
We have
application.
one last one.
Right, 380 West Broadway.
280 West Broadway. Legalize replacement of storefront doors, alterations to storefront cladding, and installation of signage without LPC permit.
Oh, yeah, this one's.
Okay. So we have Natalie.
Hi, this is Natalie. And I believe Behan Karahan will also be joining us.
Okay, I'll promote them.
Hi. Hello, I'm Behan Karahan. I'm the architect of an applicant for the legalization of the signage at 380 West Broadway. I've been practicing in Lower Manhattan and SoHo since 1983. However, this is a very unusual project for us. Originally, the retail space was occupied and interior renovations were done by an architect called Salvatore Bonassaro. And it was interior work was properly filed and had permissions. And then once the interior work was completed, the Italian firm that was directed by Valentina Lucchi, an architect from Milano, who is actually a very well-known retail architect, is also in charge of Giorgio Armani stores, just came up with all the signage and the aesthetics of the exterior of the building. In a way, our client is the owner of the space, who were the former owners of the OK Harris Gallery. And my colleague Natalie Medina will make our presentation.
I'm gonna share my screen. Can everybody see the presentation?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So the project is located at 380 West Broadway. It's on the west side between Broome and Spring Street. These are just the historic photos of the building. We just wanted to know this was part of the extension of the SoHo Historic District, and the designation photo had an illuminated sign over the door and a banner that were grandfather into approvals into the designation when it was designated. This is the current state of the storefront. And our understanding from our conversations with the preservationists, right, is sort of the overall amount of signage is more than 3, and the color change of the cladding on the storefront and the doors that we need to have legalized. Since the submittal of this application to the community board, the client did remove the door sign from the door. We just didn't get it in time to update the presentation, but this is no longer being asked to be part of the signage package that we're presenting today.
Both doors
of these service doors, the ones over the 378 number, the vinyl graphic. They decided to remove it, and it will just be remain just a painted door. And then this is a photo just showing the flagpole. These are a few more photos showing the entryway and sort of a window zoom-in of the cladding around the existing window. And then the other thing is this topiary that was installed above the steps with turf. This was installed because they were having issues, safety issues with people sleeping on the stoop. And they saw this as a way to provide something that
provide a more comfortable place to sleep.
Yeah, that basically that no, not really. They had less issues with it since they put this installation up. And
it's living?
No, it's a turf mat. Yeah.
But it's not plastic. It's you say turf. You mean astroturf or turf?
Behan, do you know if it's living? I don't think it is it?
No, I walked by it. I don't think it's living. I don't
think it's living. Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah,
I didn't touch it.
It's turf.
No, there's no drainage, so
excuse me, I didn't hear what Behan said.
It's not living. It's turf.
It's plastic. It's plastic. Yes. Turf is living. Iron we burn it for you.
Astro.
It's true. I know.
And then this photo shows that the interior signage is actually 20 inches from the window itself, so it's not, so technically is under what is allowed to be installed without obtaining a permit since it's inside the store. And these are just a few more photos of the installation of the signage and the windows and the frames. And then these are just a few examples of stores within our block that have, large flagpoles. So the flagpole at the storefront is not out of context. This is the flagpole for Techno Gym down the block. And then these are just more of the technical drawings showing what the storefront was. So the door entry was similar to the residential entry with 2 panels. What they did was come and clad all the frames with a champagne color and replace the doors with full glass panels instead of being divided. And then these are just dimensional drawings showing the plan and the installation of the frame and astroturf. And then these are more comparison drawings of what the Bogner flagpole used to be versus the new Techno Gym flagpole. And this is an example of the metallic champagne color. It's not completely matte, but it has a very low sheen to the material. And this is plan details showing the entry doors, and the next one kind of shows the installation of the light and the cladding around the windows, which is just applied on top of the existing frame. And that's, we open it up for questions.
Well, in a way, I mean, our clients were presented by this tenant that this is their global image, that they have done this aesthetic and this type of signage and lighting all around the world. And so they assumed it was allowed for them to do. But now we're just trying to make sure that they're acceptable.
Could you go stop stop the scrolling and move up a little? I want to look at the
Yeah, I was gonna bring it to this photo here.
Can we move up to look at the detailing? No, the other way.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, here.
Yeah, there's a close up of the yellow.
Of the interior?
You just keep moving.
This one? Yeah. Okay.
And I'm not clear what we're seeing in this. This is
okay. The image on the right is taken from the interior of the building. So we put a tape measure to show that the signage inside is 20 inches away from the glass of the storefront. So we're looking from inside up to the fire escape.
But it doesn't appear to be.
Okay, is it double?
This is the signage, how far it's set back from the glass. That's really what it's showing. Yeah. But I think one of the things to talk about is this illuminated, continuous light fixture all around the perimeter of the glass.
That's correct. Exactly.
That is not a historic treatment.
If you could go back to the previous picture that shows the front. Now, what we're seeing there depicted in yellow, where is that? Is that 20? That's not 20 inches behind.
This band?
No, it's not.
No, this band will be, it's actually right up against the glass.
And is it in the front, before, outside or inside?
It's inside.
So
it's
inside against the glass. Okay.
Yeah, so if you see here in this lower image, this is the glass, and this is the illuminated yellow band right here.
Okay.
I have a question. So that band is being replaced by the champagne color?
No, the champagne color is what replaced what used to be, and I think it might be better depicted here. You see the entry door for the tenants for the residential side, it's all black.
Yeah, right.
So on their side is champagne. So they just clad the existing black metal with a champagne color metal.
Okay, so the proposal is still to maintain the illuminated yellow.
Yes, they would like to maintain the illuminated signage and the color and configuration change of the storefront.
And the box in this picture is something that's inside.
No,
on the
it's
right.
Yeah, so this
yes.
is just temporary. This is not even there anymore. It's just kind of like their display. Mhm.
So what is the current condition then, to be clear, that yellow box is missing and the left-hand sign is missing.
Yes,
So
this
we
is
have 3
missing.
signs and 2 frames to deal with.
And doors. And the doors.
Oh,
were-
and then the green.
And the banner.
Cladding and the
So we
banner.
have
Oh,
the
can't see.
flagpole,
Okay.
the sign over the door.
Are there questions for the committee now?
Yeah, I have a question, and that is, can you show us any other examples of this kind of illuminated perimeter, like your yellow, bright yellow illuminated perimeter that exists within the historic district?
Well, actually, I think your question is well taken. I, living and working here in Soho, corner of Broome and Green Street, walk the entire Soho cast iron district. There is not one example that I could find to provide for you. This is unique in that way.
Thank you. That's very important to us. And we understand that this is a global image that, is before us, but we're more concerned about our historic district than what is happening in other parts of the globe in this particular instance. So,
Have
thank you.
the mics been disturbed? Susan, you were somewhat breaking up.
Oh, I don't know why.
Oh,
Anyway, the answer to the question was given, and no, there are no other examples, which is not a surprise. Okay, thank you very much. I have another. We'll get to you, Sean. Don't worry. I have another question. I don't quite understand what the door was that got replaced. So if you would be kind enough to explain.
Oh, yes, yeah, it was the door and the frames of the existing storefront were black anodized aluminum, and the door was identical to the one that you see on the right. That's the entrance to the residential lobby.
Except there was a divider. That's what you just told me, that there was a slight difference. There was a divider in the middle of the glass and there
That's
was.
correct, yeah. Up above, there was a piece of glass.
The transom?
Just like this one, there was a piece of glass, and then there were two doors with a divider. There, maybe you can just see this vaguely in this image right here.
Yeah, you can kind of see it behind this tree.
Right, exactly.
So it used to have a blacked out transom and then doors that with the 2 lights similar to what the residential lobby door was.
So they matched each other.
They matched each other, correct. Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Sean?
So in photo
I
number
want to talk about the green first.
Okay.
Well, before we go there, can I just ask about photo 02? That blue sign is what you're proposing?
The blue sign.
Blue and yellow, the banner.
Yeah, it's black and yellow. It's the back. Yeah, the
Black and
blue.
yellow, right.
That'll be the dimensions. It's that size.
It's that size, yes.
Do you know what they are, the dimensions?
Yes, I have it here. It's 7 feet by well, this dimension is off, but it's like
4
3
foot
feet.
5 1/4, right.
That's
It's actually 3 feet. The dimension's off. Yeah. Mhm.
So what is it?
It says 42 by 84, so 3'6" by 7 feet.
Okay, thank you.
We'll put in that if we approve what's there, provided that it conforms to regulations. They're just too complex to put into each resolution. With respect to this green area, is that flat diamond plate underneath?
Yes.
It's actually quite removable. It's not attached to anything. There is that frame with the same kind of champagne finish, but it's not attached. And we've informed them that this is also one of those things that we don't have in the Soho Historic District. So they told to us that it's quite removable if it's not acceptable. But the problem is that right next to us, I'm sure our neighbors know, there's another restaurant, and people seem to be sitting in this on this stoop a lot and loitering a lot. So they're trying to figure out some way to keep people from not going in and looking somewhat, giving somewhat of a healthy image with this grass, fake grass.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe it's the signage, additional signage, maybe. Yeah, if it's just a little patch of grass, I think the dogs would find it, but it's
No,
not.
I have a stoop too in my building. That's part of, unfortunately, living there. People actually, if you're lucky to live in a there's a restaurant next door because the waiters might take it away. I have people just leaving coffee cups in my stoop. It's just part of living there. People are slobs. I don't know if that's a solution. I just pick their garbage up and throw it away.
But I think they also had like homeless people sleeping on their stoop, and they had
We know the problem. The problem is.
I never heard that.
Is the correct solution to it.
I will say.
I've never wait. I've never heard of a homeless person sleeping on West Broadway on any of those steps.
Well, there is actually a particular person. He seems to be there almost every night. Sometimes
Really?
the police would pick
Okay,
him up.
this is not
But
the
this
place.
is
to
the
do
Yeah,
day
okay.
he
Yeah.
shows up,
Just-
and I think
just
the
a moment,
restaurant gives them food. I'm not sure, but there seems to be more or less the same person doing it.
Okay, but the landmarks issue here is the AstroTurf.
Right, yeah.
Of course,
Yeah, the question is.
So thank you. Anita, did you have anything else?
Well, no, I mean, I think we know what they're proposing. As to whether we agree with it or not, it's something we can
we'll
probably do
discuss. Yeah.
in the business section.
Okay, are there any questions or comments from the public? All right, I guess not.
Which
Everyone's watching the debate.
Yeah, right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Is that everything, Susan?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Eugene,
Thank
if you
you.
go back to the
Thank you.
room.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all who were here.
All right, 8:00. That's where we're at.
Hours in, yikes. All
I
right.
didn't really want to hear 11th Street twice. I was doing a cut and paste that I didn't.
No, I know.
No, we're good. We're good. I'm not complaining, just noting.
Okay, let's do it.
11th Street, are there comments? Brian seemed concerned about the.
No, this is a nice project, but I do think I would still put some wood frame around that, under that arch, if I were asked. I think
I have the notes, so let's go in order of the notes that were that came up in the discussion. To raise the studio wall to minimize the railing.
Yeah, that's a good
I
one.
wanted to pursue that.
Yep.
Well, I would like to make the suggestion of the design team to look at that. If it's feasible, if it's possible.
And this is something that will go as not a condition.
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the proportion of the skylight, which is related to that.
Yeah.
No basement windows. Were you satisfied with his?
Yes, they can't have them. I got it. I couldn't. It's not gonna happen.
One could see clearly from the stairs. What's happened is moving the steps lower.
No, moving the whole
That is
floor
to go a
lower.
whole
That's what
half
made the
floor
difference.
down more than.
So your floor level is, on the old row houses, it's raised up. So you
Right,
have,
and this one too.
this is flat as a pancake.
There are consequences of removing a stoop.
No, they did some
With
serious
them at
work
the
there.
front door, that got hard to hear. How did that end, Anita?
I'm sorry, I
The
didn't.
front door
Coming
comments
around the
that you
front
made.
door.
Oh, yeah, no, I think I mean, someone else can speak to it. I just feel like if we could add some, it's very unusual to have a door without any wood trim, first of all, in historic buildings. And here it's a perfect opportunity because you have an arch and that frame is wider. So just continue it down and give it a little more va-va-voom.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. I understand that there had concerns about the relationship between the fan light and all of that. But I think that's less concern than the fact that it does appear to be very strange to have an important door like that without.
Well, also it doesn't,
anything on the
this
sides.
is normal.
And it ends
That's
up looking
normal.
like the fan light is too small.
That's what it should be, and they can do it.
So does everybody agree that there should be a little
I would agree with
something
that.
there?
Yes, I agree with
All right.
Because these are all such second-class citizens, these little doors.
And this one is conditional, not a suggestion. Correct?
I think so.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. The material of the railing. It's an, he had this whole thing about its visibility, but it's not, the example was the High Line, which is hardly an example for the house. And I don't think we've ever had it before. I can't recall it.
Well, it does look pretty light. You're talking about the kind of the metal roof railing?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's probably going to be a lot less visible than we think. That would be my opinion, because it's a very light.
It itself is not terribly visible. from what I
Right,
can see
it's
through the
pretty
trees.
lightweight metal.
Yes, it is. And it's crafted. So
Okay.
it's going to be a
The
big.
kitchen things, then of the studio wall, the skylight accompanying that.
It's not a chain link
And
in the terms of Frank Gehry. It's something else.
We can just make a statement about the public's comment on the intrusion and whether the space that's part of the house space can be used.
Yeah, we must make. I mean, there were several members of the
Gonna make
public.
bad public relations with the thing, but
No, but, you know, one of the woman who was here and spoke said that that you know, all the others felt the same way, that she was representing more than just her own point of view here. So, you know,
it's out of our purview because they also read something that sounded like they weren't subject to, except to AD.
right, exactly. So we can't weigh in. I mean, that's a matter for lawyers, you know. I think, but what they were representing has to do more with the spirit of that agreement. The letter of the agreement is nothing that we can opine on, but I do think that we must comment on the fact that many members of this garden, you know, consistently were consistent in their concern that this was a violation of the spirit of this agreement.
And one person said that regardless of what was in the agreement, which we didn't read, was that this situation exists in other houses, that there's a certain amount of private area before the designated area, and that none of that had been filled in.
Right, but they had some special case scenario with this one and one other, and you know.
I think they're all like that. You all, I mean, the Sullivan Street and Thompson and Turtle Bay, you have your own partially private, although open, and then you have the communal.
And the space involved is what, 5 feet or 6 feet? I remember
10 feet. 10 on the ground floor.
And it's enough to put a round table and 2 chairs.
Well, it reduces the whole, the feeling of one space. Now you have a level.
Then I think we're clear on that, yes?
Yeah. And why buy there if you're not going to respect it? I mean, that's like buying in a historic district and tearing it all down.
The 12th Street stoop gate.
I think the only thing is for you to note.
Automatic closure.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing is for you to note the the need for the automatic closure.
Yeah.
The
Greenwich,
drugs get worse, the need gets higher. Sad.
Really bad.
Yeah.
in the end, we'll say it must be black. Yes, painted black railing.
Of the gate?
Okay, now we're on, where are we now?
Never seen anybody come who didn't know anything about the application.
Sorry.
Wait, did you just jump to 711 Greenwich Street?
Number 2, 118 West 12th Street, auto close added.
Right.
Is that what we're still talking about, the gate? Stoop gate? It is already painted black.
I was finished with it. Did you want to say more about it?
Well,
No,
no.
we didn't realize that you had moved ahead to number 3.
Yeah, please identify what you're talking about now.
I didn't renumber them.
Oh, okay. So
I'm going to put the
711 Greenwich
back where it belongs. So I'm on Greenwich Street, which is the third thing we heard. We're going the order we heard them.
All right.
I'd say black and concrete. It's a concrete surface and black railing and metal. I think there's some metal coverings that should be black as well.
I have one other point to make, I think, following up on what Eugene said about the landing. If you come up on the ramp to the landing in a wheelchair, there's nothing on the stairway side to keep you from continuing off the edge. There seems to be no reason for that stairway to be the full 5-foot width. It can be the same width as the ramp. That gives a corner there for some definition.
Yeah, I got that.
And it takes up less of the sidewalk space in that corner of the stair.
And Anita, you were saying a metal cladding for the ramp.
Yeah, I think the side of the
So that
ramp.
it presents blackness rather than concrete to the.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have a finished concrete surface. It had a metal, whatever they call it, diamond plate or something. Yeah.
And all that painted black. But
Yes.
it's going to be a deny unless clearly.
Okay.
Rather than suggestions.
Okay.
That's it, right?
Yep. Okay, 540 Hudson.
I think it has to be temporary. This vinyl has to be temporary.
Everyone uses the temporary excuse, so why don't we?
I don't think we should get into that. I think it wasn't the application. The application is for something permanent.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so before we get into the aesthetics of the mural signs.
Is there any opposition to denying the application?
Well, let him finish what he wants to say. Hold on.
Yeah, before we take the vote, I just want to point out what I had mentioned earlier. When I went by there, the next door tenant, same address, same building, has their windows covered. I don't remember hearing anything from them about getting approval of what's there. I thought for sure that we were going to hear them because it really is in your face with all of the decals and stuff.
It is hard to know what staff is doing. It's also hard to know what is a violation.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same building owner, so I think we should make a note of that.
Yeah.
But I do think this is this particular application is just too showy, too distracting for the historic area.
Yeah. And for the building.
Yeah.
And the colors don't go with the building. I mean, red and brick and red and pink and, it's a little.
It seemed like a stretch to
Yeah.
cover the excuse to say it was part of the village aesthetic, especially when the exact same colors showed up in another store of theirs, not in a historic district.
Yeah.
Also, Chanel, didn't we, when we heard the Spectrum store application, didn't we object to the way they
Yes,
treated the
we
windows?
we recommended against covering
Okay,
them,
that's what I thought. Thank you.
Good point, yeah.
and we were over. And
All right.
that's not decorative. At least that's kind of neutrally sitting there ugly, but it doesn't jump.
Well, we're good. We can vote on that then, right?
We spent forever on those windows on Spectrum. I was as annoyed as I was with the ramp. So we're in order. We're just simply denying the
Yes.
Voting to deny.
Greene Street.
Oh, that's fine. One or
Yeah.
two, that's the rotten,
The bullet glass.
what else? Either you replace it exactly or you put metal steps.
I was late to this meeting because I was talking to a contractor to get in my building, get it repaired.
It was because we changed from 6:30 to 5.
No.
Well, they do have very nice examples now of new cast iron with the lights, really high quality.
I saw one the other day. It
I
was
think it's from North Carolina. I stopped and asked the guys, and I have it somewhere, but really high quality, but very expensive. I mean, you don't get all that craftsmanship for little
there
money.
is so much precedent for what they did.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't even know what they're here for, honestly, but that's fine.
And they were working with LPC when they were.
I mean, this is like, come on.
Yeah.
We'll take a lot of people's time for that.
Next.
Thanks.
Bank Street.
Okay, the famous twins on Bank Street.
Well, I think the roof work is not visible enough to object to. And the same thing with the rear facade is not going to be seen by anybody. So the point about making them too much of a match is there's a lot of townhouses that were built all at once and they all had the same detail and the trims and stoops and so forth. So I don't think we could say that this is contrary to the village character.
It's
No,
very,
I mean, I think the point though still stands. I think that the applicant gave a very good reply in that they weren't removing the other doorway and the other stoop, and that's sufficient to make the statement that it's too unique.
The ironwork is different on the windows.
So I think that was I think that was a compelling argument, but I think, we also, there things go on, there's the 20s, there's the 80s, there's the 1880s, there's the 1920s, we've seen these things and it is nice to see them. I'm not saying that in this case, we should hold on to those things, but I do think it's not always good to just get rid of things that tell us that there was history that occurred after the building was originally built. But I think that's still a good point.
And
but
what
I think
occurred was sort of, it's not haphazard, sort of out of the Sears catalog kind of things, rather than distinctive.
Yeah.
well, there's a definite move to the Italianate from what was maybe a little more modest, the Greek Revival, Federal and all that. This is Italianate.
Yeah.
Way. But it's fun. It's nice. It's got squiggly stuff.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I thought of Anita's favorite restaurant, the one by Land Arch.
What
as that
about
was
it?
an intervention.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't think we have any, I think we just approve everything there, yes?
On the bank, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Okay, but you're saying of that one we were on, right?
We were.
Yes.
You were saying we approve everything, meaning Bank Street, right, Susan?
Yes.
Yeah, Bank Street.
I won't go do 11th Street again. West Broadway.
I thought it was very well done.
Yeah, I thought so too. And actually, it was pretty wild that the windows that are divided are now going to be one big one, correct?
That's correct. They'll
That's
match.
lovely.
They'll match
It's a very handsome building.
It sure is.
Doesn't look great.
And remarkably intact from long ago.
Yeah, for all the beat up years it's been neglected. I think so.
What about the visibility of the penthouse rooftop structure?
I thought the fact when he actually showed what was visible made it okay.
It kind of goes right up to the edge, right? I mean, it's right.
It's also very,
running right up to the
also-
line there.
it's very dark too. So, and it's very modern. It's like this really, but
I didn't really
luckily,
like the penthouse. Yeah, I didn't like
I
the
wanted to
penthouse
be sure
much.
that its modernists did not read from even the limited view there is. And,
Well, that's my concern, yeah.
I think it's gonna look like a
that corner
shadow.
between the-
It replaced the bulkhead.
Oh, that was a big improvement to get rid of that elevator
Yeah.
bulkhead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, we could say that too. That doesn't hurt.
What about the glass
Cool.
wall?
You don't have to load from the street these days to the elevators, so.
Well, again, this was done by, you can really tell when people have the skill to do this work. This was done very well, I think. The West Broadway. Number 1, number 2. Are we on to the next one? West
Yes.
Broadway, 380?
Yes.
Hang on, before we go
Okay,
to
we have
380.
three
Wait,
signs, one banner.
Before we go to
Sorry.
380, I just want to make sure that Eugene has been heard. Did you have something else, Eugene, that you wanted to
was wondering
say
if-
about the penthouse?
Thanks. Yeah, I was wondering if we had any comments on the glass railing or the glass wall on the penthouse. Do we usually care about the materials in terms of it reflecting from the street, or is it not visible enough?
You can't see it.
Really
Yeah,
see
I
it,
was,
right?
I was thinking about that too, Eugene, and this is, I believe that the glass railing is only on the side wall.
It's on the side that we can't see, right?
The
We're
north,
not looking at it reflecting onto the street or that sort of angle that we usually get glare from this
Yeah.
glass.
it's a north wall. So it won't get much glare.
Yeah, so
I thought from what was said that it's not visible.
a little bit it is. I mean, everything on that edge of the roof is going to be some visibility, but I didn't think it was obtrusive in its location. I would be okay with it.
And it actually fits with the little house that doesn't fit as long as you don't see it.
Okay,
Okay, we have 3 signs, 1 banner, 2 illuminated frames, and a putting green.
Old.
A lot of problems here.
all right, well, big no on the illuminated perimeter. I think we can
Can
start.
we do the easy things first? The
Yes,
3 signs,
the what?
3 signs.
Oh, the 3 signs.
Ooh.
And
Well,
one,
3 signs and a flag
Yeah, I mean,
and a Terra
why did,
thing.
you don't see many 3 signs for a business. Dior has 1, Chanel has 1. You know where I'm going with this?
Less is more.
Yeah, right.
That's the chic thing. We don't even put numbers or names on our
God
thing.
forbid.
You have to know. So
Seems overkill.
yeah,
Yeah.
way too much. And it's a particularly in my opinion, unappealing visual. yellow, it's
I agree.
a weird background. It doesn't look historic in any way. It's not like a letters or, I don't know. So it's problematic. Oof.
Okay, what are we going to say about the 3 signs?
Too many, put it on a very modest one right on the glass.
Like everyone else.
And get rid, and it's too close to the window, so it's not acceptable. And the illumination is, you know, if they, what I did want to say at the end there is, yes, the grass, it's a big
More to
problem.
the mic. I can see you in profile if you talk toward the mic, but I can't hear you if you look at me.
Oh, see, okay, I won't look at you, sorry. Oh, I was gonna say that it is a problem with, you know, people sleeping or hanging out. I understand that. I think if they developed a better lighting for the storefront, they could take care of that problem. The best defense, other than a fence, is lighting, illumination, which makes it unpleasant for people to sit there. So I didn't get into that, but once you get rid of these other lights, maybe that would help them.
Well, if he is, there might be a person
Hey,
sleeping.
can we settle the signs? We're talking about the signs.
Well, I say no, get rid of all of them and put a nice written thing on the glass. That's it.
And a banner.
I can't hear. Is it the design of the signs or the number?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
We're denying the signs.
I believe that they showed us that the signs behind the glass were legal, far enough away from the glass to meet the code limitations. That's what.
Oh, it was
the tape measure. On the
18
inside.
inches, is that the dimension?
18 inches.
So,
all
right.
I believe that we might not even have anything to say about that.
This is the 2 in the show windows then.
I'm saying the 2 behind the window glass.
Yeah.
So that means that the one above the door would be the ones we could say that we wanted out.
Okay, good point.
But I'm okay, and so that's one point, just the signage, because I'm really against those bright yellow frames.
Like a car thing.
And the banner is okay if it conforms.
Yes.
Well, can I say something?
Sure. Yeah.
We all are.
A while back, about 20 years ago, when I was landmarks chair here, I noticed a proliferation of larger and larger and larger signs. It became like a peeing contest, who could get the largest sign, based on the fact in the old days when the landlords had to let, and then the art galleries had some smaller, and they got bigger and bigger. So landmarks put a restriction in, it's 2 by 3. But West Broadway is kind of wider, and they allow Broadway to have larger signs. So I think West Broadway might be larger. I think this is in context to West Broadway. Yeah. Was it 4 by 7?
Well, the one they showed existing
3 by 6 by 7.
The existing one
was
too much. Huge. It's like 7 by 7.
Yeah,
so they've halved it.
Yeah, this fits.
Well, we always say if we approve the general thing itself, the design, that it conforms to all the regulations.
Well, I don't think that's technically correct.
Yeah, I don't think it's, the regulations say 2 by 3, and if you want more than 2 by 3, then you go for a permit to get larger.
This is 3 6 by 7. It's a whole nother. This is like
it's larger, but
I think that,
case by case.
I think this is one of those approve if the commission can verify that it meets the regulations.
Right, then we don't have to measure because it's so complex. We gave up ages ago on measuring them,
and that's not the most difficult thing about this.
No, it's 2 by 3.
I think
the illuminated frames simply are not acceptable, correct?
Utterly unacceptable.
There's no, and the green is
Oh,
not.
the green, the golf
Putting
green.
I think that's a big no. Also, because for many reasons, not least of which is that it's a big giant piece of plastic in the middle of I mean, it's AstroTurf. Come on, you know. It's not even like it's some eco-friendly installation of some
Who would have
sort.
thought
It's
of
not,
this?
you know, so there's
Not a
that.
green wall.
But
Yeah.
And it
also, we
certainly doesn't
live in a
enhance the
city,
historic character of the building.
right? And, you know, these kinds of stoops are an integral part of the architecture of Soho. I mean, they're a defining characteristic of Soho.
People are going to stoops, right? I mean, they can't just complain because people are using the stoops.
That's what everyone in New York City sits on stoops.
Right, but that was their complaint, is that people are using it.
Well, they're international.
So, you know, so I think between the fact that this is an intervention on an unwelcome intervention on a stoop that is by its very nature, a defining characteristic of the architecture of the district is problematic. I think the, you know, extremely non-ecologically sensitive nature of the material is problematic. I also think, you know, there's a larger problem here having to do with an unhoused population and how the city does or does not respond to their needs. And I think this idea that this invites an idea that everybody can just kind of choose your own adventure. How do you want to get rid of the homeless people on your step is not really a very nice way to look at things, either for the unhoused people or for the city as a whole.
I know.
Or for a building in a landmark district.
Yeah.
That's done there.
We use the word a lot, it detracts from the districts. I was walking down, going somewhere, and it caught my eye, and I stopped and go, what's that? Instead of looking at the building, I looked at this, and I got near enough. Maybe I did touch it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, like, is it a place for like dogs to go?
What was that?
Like, is it a place for dogs to go? Like,
It is, unfortunately.
It looks like one of those airport relief stations. Airport doggy relief station.
That'll show them.
Has anything been left undone? I think not. There's no new business.
Well, we have to also be.
Let's talk about the doors.
Diplomatic too, because again, international, they're going to be very upset. I said we have to be a little diplomatic in our resolution because I think, you know, they're very proud of this. And I think the doors are a big problem.
So we have to discuss the doors. Yeah.
And the transom, loss of the transom, I don't know if I understood that correctly. But the new doors, Chanel, can you hear me? I moved the speaker.
Which application are we talking about?
The gym.
Techno gym.
380.
Techno gym, whatever it is.
Yep. Okay. What about the door?
It used to match the one next to it. It no longer does. It no longer has a transom. And that's a big problem. Be nice if they matched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be. They should have restored it back to that if it wasn't like that right before they got it.
I notice a lot of international companies have that tendency. They
We'll have to just say it's not in the application. There's
The
no
doors are.
It's the first
we can
thing.
say that.
So it says new doors.
No, the doors are in the application. It says application.
Storefront doors. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've scrolled too much.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay. They didn't exactly present them. So the doors were changed as part of this, apparently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, we have a very standard way of reviewing these things, which is, would we have approved it had it come to us legitimately for review? And I do not believe that we would have legalized those particular storefront replacement doors.
And it should match, it should be the old door that was there.
It's pretty easy too. It's right there. So we don't want something different and shiny. They do, but we don't. Okay, show's over, right?
It's not our fault that we keep saying, sort of the excuse, we didn't know what we were doing, we just did it. That's not.
It's all right. That gives us something to do, keeps us out of trouble.
I'm not clear that anything.
It's an enthusiast.
Or have we denied all of West Broadway? I'm getting confused now. We keep bouncing around.
No, West Broadway, 392 was okay.
Yeah. No, as far as 380,
I'm talking about 380.
well, we approved the banner and we approved
the banners, sorry, Brian, for interrupting, but we approved the banner provided that it conforms with LPC regs. Yeah.
Which it doesn't, but that's okay. Let them figure that out.
Exception.
Right.
And everything else we didn't have denied.
external signage was denied.
External, and the interior signage was within the rules. I don't know, is that in front of us? That's not on this list.
Part of their application.
Storefront cladding, is that the champagne they refer to?
Yes.
I think that's the cladding is how they refer to those frames.
No, not the light. It's around, it's just a little piece of trim piece they're calling. Champagne makes it sound very grand, but it's just the
Yellow in
color.
the renderings, they're not.
Yeah.
Are they including the lighting as part of signage in their
No,
application?
I don't see anything about the lights.
So they're just assuming that's okay?
No can do. And
Okay.
no.
As I zoom in on my photo, it does look like they reclad the perimeter of the windows in the champagne color.
Yeah.
Then immediately inside the window, on the other side of the glass, are these bright lights.
So that ruler thing is so confusing.
Yeah, the ruler thing was only for the Techno Gym sign that was in the middle of the window, but set back 18 inches. That's what was shown with the ruler.
But it showed the frame that looks like a double frame, which is.
Yes, that's true. They showed it. And so that's what I object to, is the yellow.
Totally.
We object to anything that's outside the windows, and we object to the frame that's inside the window touching the glass.
Yes.
What about the champagne?
It didn't bother me.
It didn't bother me.
I couldn't even see it, actually. I know it was referred to, but it's almost, what was the building color? White?
Well, the building itself is kind of an off-white.
Yeah.
The older photo that they showed us of that building, it was all black, which was really shocking. I thought, that's the same building?
No kidding.
That was radical change.
That's pretty poppin'. That would work for their design motif. All right. Thank you, Brian.
Hey, I have I have the application, so I can get the right terms and try to match the application to the pictures we see so that it all makes sense.
Okay, good. Well, you call on us if you need more opinions.
Yeah, that's right. Always check with us.
Right.
Oh, it's a miniature golf course because you have to go around that raised part of the.
Golf. You know what it reminds me of, like in the country clubs where you drive up and there's like a little berm and then you have the name of a Charleston or.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're done.
I think so too.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, thank you.
Thank you.
We're nice on our own.
Hmm?
We can't keep meeting like this every day.
I know.